Cool.
Yeah.
Right on. So that Marine standing next to the Taliban fighter in that video is you, right?
Yeah. It's me standing on top of the wall right next to him, and my squad leader right below. The person you can see me just below on the ground, that is my squad leader.
Right on. Is that the day of the 26th, or?
I don't remember exactly what day it is, but yes, that time frame, right around. It's either the day before or the morning of.
All right, right on.
TBI brain.
Right on. All right, now go ahead and just introduce yourself. Say like, my name is, you know, if you want to say your rank.
Yeah,
right.
I'll go name, and then my name is Romel Finley. I was attached to 2-1 Golf. Yeah, I'll go there.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Romel Finley III. I was attached to 2-1 Golf, 1st Platoon.
Right on. All right, bet. So let's get this started real quick. So you are originally from Wisconsin, right?
Yes, sir.
Right
Kenosha, Wisconsin.
So we'll start off the interview. We'll start with like where you're from, childhood, and then high school, and then what inspired you to join the Marine Corps. Your career in the Marine Corps up until you get to 2-1 deploy.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about life after deployment and wounded warrior, mental health.
Okay.
And also we could throw in like a boot camp story or something.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you're born and raised in Wisconsin?
Born in Waukegan, Illinois, but I claim that I'm from Kenosha, Wisconsin, because I've lived there a lot as well.
Right on.
So. Right on the border. It's right on the border. Waukegan is maybe 20 minutes from the border, and Kenosha is right on the border.
Right.
So,
and for people that don't know, Kenosha, Wisconsin is where that kid Kyle Rittenhouse blasted that one fool in that riot. Back in 2020. That's Kenosha. That's the whole town right there.
That's how everyone knows Kenosha, Wisconsin nowadays. When I tell them I'm from Kenosha, they ask me if I know Kyle Rittenhouse.
Hell yeah.
No, I don't. I don't know
him. Hell yeah. So you were born what, like 90 are you
98?
98? Are you
yeah.
still the 1900s?
Yeah, 98. 1998. I'm 25.
Right on. Hell yeah. So 98, fucking, I was 8 years old.
Old man over there.
Oh yeah. So born in 98, like April
5th, 1998.
Right on. And then grew up right there your whole life pretty much?
Yes. I spent all of my before Marine Corps, I spent all of my time right in northeast Illinois and southeast Wisconsin, whether it be Kenosha or Winthrop Harbor in Illinois, all in that area, in that area.
Right on. Hold on, let me grab I left my beer right here. Right on. Did you grow up playing sports or anything?
I did. Throughout when I was in middle school, I played basketball for a season. I wasn't good at it. I played football. I wasn't good at it.
Yeah.
But me and my best friend got into lacrosse my 8th grade year, and we played that all throughout high school. 5 years total I spent playing lacrosse.
Okay, so like what, 8th grade up until?
Yes, 8th grade all the way through senior.
You played varsity too?
Yeah, we had freshman year. Me and my best friend, we started out pretty much playing varsity because our team was so small. So we played junior, JV, and varsity.
Right on. Any championships?
No. Our team, the year we started in 8th grade was the first year of the program, and a lot of the kids that we joined with had never touched the lacrosse stick before.
So you guys are fucking ass.
Yeah, we were new guys. Wasn't the best. I was good, but we weren't the best.
Were you the only the black dude on the squad?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah?
Actually, I was the only black dude on the squad.
Oh yeah. So you played. So you're pretty athletic. I mean, lacrosse. That's pretty. That's pretty.
Yeah, it's a run-heavy sport. It's similar to soccer in the amount of running.
Okay.
The field is about the size of a football field, a little bit shorter. It's like a yard's difference, something like that. But it's a lot of running. It's the fastest fastest sport on 2 legs.
Yeah.
In America, over football, over any other sport.
Yeah.
It is the fastest sport on two legs.
And you guys could like tackle each other, no? Or
not full blown tackle, but yeah, we can check like shoulder check someone. Like I could lay you if you and I were running flat. Like we could lay each other out.
Oh yeah,
that's legal.
Okay,
yeah.
That's pretty badass. Right on. All right, so you played high school lacrosse, varsity, pretty much your whole 4 years.
Yeah.
Did you do college too, or no?
I did go to college for a semester. I took a gap year after I finished high school. I didn't want to go to college, and then after that gap year, I did a semester of college. And I realized I didn't really want to pay for school, and that's when I decided I was going to join the military.
Yeah.
And that was going to, upon other things, but that was the reason.
Were you a good student too?
I could have been better, but I wasn't the best.
Yeah.
I could have been better, but school was easy. School was easy for me.
So you did after high school, you did 1 year just like chilling?
Yeah, I took a gap year working.
Yeah.
I worked with my dad. I worked at Amazon for a little while.
Okay.
I worked at Noodles and Company, a restaurant in the Midwest. I worked a couple jobs for that gap year, and then I went to school.
What does your dad do? He has his own company?
No, he doesn't have his own company, but he does. He works at Worth Bear Supply, and he sells a lot of hardware. And they have a warehouse. So he works on the sales side of things, and he sells all the product. And when he brought me in, or when I got to work at that company, I was in the warehouse picking all the product that he was selling and all of the sales team was selling.
Okay.
I was picking and packing all that product in the warehouse. So
okay, right on. Then so after that year of like working, is that when you decided to like talk to a recruiter and all that?
It was really when I was in school. Well, after my gap year, I decided I wanted to go back to school, and I had a notion of going to a school for ROTC and going the officer route.
Yeah.
But then I realized I didn't like school as much, so I didn't like school and I didn't want to pay for school.
Yeah.
So I decided to make the decision to enlist. Probably halfway through my first semester in college. That was a solid decision to enlist.
Right on. And then like right off the back, you wanted to be a machine gunner?
Not a machine gunner, no. So I definitely wanted to be in the infantry. My two friends out of high school, Tyler and Alex, they had joined right out of high school and I didn't.
Yeah.
And I told them after that I was going to join, and they both, my friend Alex, he kind of sat me down and he was like, listen, brother, I get you want to join. That's cool. Come join us. Come be a part of the Marine Corps. But if you don't join the infantry, we'll still be your friend, but the opinion's going to be a little jaded. We're going to have to make fun of you.
Yeah.
So that was what led me to join the infantry. And then when I was in ITB was when I wanted to be a 52. I wanted to be an anti-tank missileman, but that position filled up in my ITB class, and I still qualified for everything. So the machine gunner instructor was like, Finley, you get to be a machine gunner.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have enough people that passed all the prerequisites to get in to be a machine gunner. So, and I did, so I got to be that.
Okay. So so let's backtrack a little bit. So when you were like a pulley and all that, what was your ASVAB score?
I got a 74 on my ASVAB.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I remember my recruiter when I took my ASVAB finally, my recruiter looked at me because I told him I wanted to be in the infantry. It was like, you don't need to be in the infantry. You have too high of an ASVAB score. And I told him, I was like, I can't do anything else.
Yeah.
My friends are going to make fun of me if I don't do it. So I'm picking the infantry. I remember my recruiter tried to give me a comms contract, and I told him no. I wasn't going to take anything else than the infantry.
And so like what year was all that?
That would have been, I went to boot camp in January of 18, so that would have been 2017.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I got out fucking April 2016.
So as you left, a year later I came in.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude. That's how time works.
Yeah, dude. I bet. So you joined and you went to boot camp in the West Coast or East Coast?
West Coast.
West Coast. Right on. What was the company in Platoon and all that?
So I was in Lima Company. Platoon 3242. In the class January, and then we graduated on April 20th. We graduated on 4/20.
Okay, so you went like in the winter?
Yes, we had the winter. We had the winter cycle.
Yeah,
it was cold as shit.
Yeah,
I remember even coming from Wisconsin when we moved to Camp Pendleton during boot camp. I remember sleeping in those beds and just being cold. I was like, it's cold here.
Yeah.
So desert time is cold here.
What was like your initial reaction when you like got dropped off at the yellow footsteps and all that?
So I kind of knew since my two buddies had joined in. By the time I was joining, they had already been through boot camp. They had already been through ITB, and they were both in the fleet.
Yeah.
So they didn't give me specific details. They didn't want to spoil it for me, but they did give me some of the insight. So I knew, like, once we get off that bus and it's time to get on it, it was on.
Yeah.
Like, I knew it was going to be just all hell from there.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew. It wasn't too much of a shock. It was a shock. It is Marine Corps boot camp, but I kind of knew.
Yeah. Were you a pulley for a while or no?
No, I think I was a pulley for maybe 2 months max. Yeah. When I told my recruiter, he was like, "You're the you don't have anything tying you down here. You don't have a girlfriend. You don't have you can get rid of your job. Just get out of here." So that process was quick. A guy, I don't remember who he was, but he had lost his infantry contract, and that was what even made me go sooner. I took his spot.
Okay. Yeah, fucking I was a pulley for like 3.5 weeks.
Yeah. And then gone. Yeah, just gone.
Because I wanted to join, but like I never had my family never supported me or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it was still time of war.
Yeah.
And so I was always like hesitant.
Yeah.
And then one of my buddies introduced me to one of his boys who was joining the Marine Corps. And he was leaving in like less than a month.
Yeah.
And me and him, we hit it off right away. We became like really good friends. And then like a week after meeting him, I met his freaking recruiter. And then
it was all hell. Yeah, it was all.
And I'm like, just send me to boot camp when he goes.
Yeah.
And then 3.5 weeks later, I was in fucking. They didn't know nothing about the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
They didn't know nothing about the war, about reserve or active duty or Marines, dude. I don't know what a guide or what a platoon was. I didn't know shit, dude.
Yeah.
And I remember my first day of boot camp, dude. I remember looking at him. I was like, dude, I don't know why the fuck.
Why did I do this?
Why? I just met you, dog.
Yeah. I remember when I made that decision to go finally, and I finally got there. I knew that my friends had told me, they were like, everyone else is going to be freaking out. You have an advantage. They were like, you have an advantage. You know things that are going to happen. You don't know specific. Like they told me, you're not going to know specifics, but you know a little bit of the timeline. And I was like, when I got there, it still was just like, damn, these motherfuckers are crazy. Why am I here?
They're fucking nuts.
Yeah. But it ended up turning good. It was a good time.
Do you have like a story of like a haze session, like a sick ass boot camp story?
Yeah, I do remember. This wasn't specifically directed towards me, but I remember I was standing online and we were in boot camp and we're doing our evening BDR. We're our nightly, everyone's online count off. Okay, you report if you have any injuries or anything like that. And my rack mate was standing right next to me, and we were probably about a month and a half into boot camp, so we kind of we knew our way around. We knew how to not get fucked up. We knew how to get we knew what would cause us to get fucked up. And we're doing evening BDR, and this guy thinks that he is okay to scratch his nose. And when you're on that line, you're not supposed to move. You know that.
Yeah.
And he scratches his nose, and I remember just standing there, locked. I'm locked in position. And this drill instructor comes right in front of my face, and I just follow him with my eyes, and he's right here, just because we're standing shoulder to shoulder. He's just getting blasted. I'm just trying so hard not to not to smile and laugh. I remember because this kid, he scratched his nose, and then of course the drill instructor's going to go and find other things to.
Yeah.
He's looking all over him.
Yeah.
He rips his rack off. Luckily, he asked him which rack he was. He didn't fuck my rack up, but he asked my rackman. He was like, "Which rack is yours?" And he like pulls up his pillowcase, and I didn't know this, but he had some peanut butter packets underneath his pillowcase.
Oh, no way.
And he got fucked up for that. Right off the bat. Oh, and I'm just sitting there online as he's like getting blasted, and the drill, like he's still standing next to me, but the drill instructor's still walking around us, just blasting him. And like he's ripping off all of his stuff. He's looking to make sure his foot locker's locked and all that stuff. It was locked, but he pulls up his pillow. 3 peanut butter packets right up and underneath his pillow.
Damn.
Got him just like that. And I'm just locked. I'm trying to hold my face. I'm just but yeah, that kid got fucked up. I got fucked up with him for it, but it wasn't that bad. But yeah, that was probably my best
peanut butter packets. That's like, dude.
That's
like
classic. Motherfuckers are always
everybody trying to steal.
Everyone is always trying to steal some peanut butter packets, and I'm not gonna lie. I stole some peanut butter packets, but I got away with it. I was smart, so yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, so fucking, did you graduate like a squad leader or as a guide or anything like that? Or
no, I didn't. Yeah, just in boot camp, I went GP. My friends had told me. My friends had told me to. My friends had kind of told me that if you keep your head down and you keep your head straight, you won't get in trouble. And I took that to heart, even when it came to positions being opened up in boot camp.
Yeah.
I knew that they would be advancements, but my main goal was just to get through it. When I got there, it was chow to chow, day to day, week to week, month to month, and then I'd be done.
Yeah.
Because it was a big life-changing thing. I mean, no one really wants to be there. We all look back at it now, and it's like a joke. Like we laugh. Like I'm sure you look back at it now, and it's like, man, I could do that shit over again. But in the moment when I was doing it, I just kept my head down. So I never tried to push for things because I wasn't trying to put eyes on me.
Yeah, fucking like training day 12 or something like that. So I had a prior injury before joining.
Yeah,
dislocated my shoulder playing soccer a couple times. My recruiter's like, "Nah, you're fine," you know. So in boot camp, like my second week or whatever, we're at the conference course, and like on the little monkey bars that go up and down, right there, the second swing, so I dislocated my shoulder, and I ended up staying in boot camp for like 6 more weeks.
Jeez.
And that was like the worst shit.
Did you have to recycle? Like when they dropped you, you had to recycle all of it?
So I had to check into like this platoon called MRP.
Yeah.
For like 6 weeks. That's where all the fucking broke dicks go and shit. And you just pretty much clean all day and get fucking yelled at, and it was the fucking worst. It felt like a fucking a mental institute or something. And 6 weeks later, they're like, "Yeah, you're good to go." And in my head, I'm like, "I'm not good to go, dude. Like, I know this fucking shoulder injury." But and then 6 weeks later, I went back to training, and then picked up, and then graduated squad leader, and then
came out big dick.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Came out swinging. Yeah,
yeah.
I remember seeing out of my platoon, we only dropped one dude, and it was because he would perpetually get our platoon fucked up.
Oh yeah,
all the time.
That
guy. He was that guy in boot camp. He would get our platoon fucked up. So finally, it was just like, you know what, we're tired of getting fucked up with this guy. So we just got him out of there. We just fucked with him enough to get him to stop and quit. And we had sent him off, or the drill instructors had told him they realized, and they brought us all in after he had left. They were like, "Listen, we get what you guys did. It's not the right thing to do. You guys shouldn't have messed with him that hard. But we get what you guys did because you guys were getting fucked up for only him." Our platoon was solid. We didn't win many awards, but we were solid. We were a solid group of dudes, and we got rid of our one lone straggler. And from that point on, we picked up a couple dudes from the cycle ahead of us, but we were solid.
Yeah, right on. So you graduate boot camp. Were you like contract PSC or anything like that?
No, I was Private right from the rip.
Yeah.
Yep. I graduated boot camp as a private, and then I picked up PFC almost at the end of ITB, and then I picked up Lance a little bit into the fleet.
Right on. And ITB, was that how was that like for you? Do you feel like that was harder than boot camp, or?
Honestly, no. I think ITB at the time, now I think it is harder than boot camp because ITB is the commando style. But back in the day, for us, it was a good stepping stone into being an infantryman, but it wasn't nearly enough as what we needed to learn. Back in the day, for me, it was cakewalk. I loved it. Like, ITB was fun. Even though we got fucked with all the time, it was still fun learning infantry shit, infantry guy shit, grunt shit. So,
right on. You ever get into like any fist fights in boot camp or ITB?
No. I never got into any fist fights, but this dude, Rocha, if you're out there, you know who you are. Me and him went to boot camp together. We went to ITB together, and we went to 2-1. We were pretty much our entire Marine Corps career lined up like together. And he was from Texas, I was from Wisconsin, but Rocha, he was in my platoon, and I used to watch that dude beat the shit out of people. We used to have fight clubs at night when the lights went off and the drill instructors went in the hatch. Oh, we used to have fight clubs. Towards the end, they didn't give a fuck.
Like towards the end, in the showers.
No, we would do it at the back of the squad bay, all the way at the back of the squad bay,
behind the racks and shit.
Yeah, behind the racks. Yeah. And towards the end, this only started happening towards the end where the drill instructors weren't out trying to be every night, trying to fuck us up. Towards the end, they kind of let up. And yeah, I used to watch this dude, Rocha. Rocha, if you're out there, shout out you. You used to fuck these dudes up. Like, there was dudes everywhere because this dude was a Golden Glove boxer. Oh, no. And I used to watch him. I was like, damn, this dude can fight. Like, I'm not. So like
recruits would voluntarily just.
Yeah, it was like a fight club. Yeah, it was all. It was all
like legit. Like hitting the fuck out of each other.
It was to settle beef. Like if you got me fucked up in boot camp, I would come to you and fight you. Like I would be like, fuck you. It was almost like prison rules for us. Yeah. Like it was like, and then after they fought, settle the beef.
Yeah.
But I remember the last time that it happened, it was just everybody. Everyone was just like, fuck it, we're just gonna fight. Like we're at the end of boot camp. Like we don't care about getting hurt or anything. We're just fuck. You come over here, we're gonna fight. You fucked me up like 3 weeks ago. Like people were throwing out grudges, and I used to watch Roach fuck people up. Yeah. And it was like there was this dude that one of the squad leaders actually he could fight. He could definitely fight, but it was more of a kickboxing style. I don't remember what martial art he trained, but it was a kickboxing style. And I remember the dude went to throw a kick at him. Rocha stepped in and just hooked him right in the gut and just put him down. Rocha was undefeated in that shit. Yeah. So yeah, shout out Rocha.
Hell yeah. Any dudes? Any recruits ever get knocked out? Like out cold?
No, we kept it smart. We were smart. Okay. We never. It wasn't headshots or anything like that. We kept it body boxing. Okay. If it did get out of hand like that, it did get out of hand like that sometimes. The whole group around, it was a fight club. The whole group around knows we can't wait. Someone can't wake up the next day with a black eye because the drill instructor could be like, "What the fuck?" Like, yeah, what happened? So we kept it body shots. Okay. Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's pretty sick. Yeah, I remember one time in MCT, like towards the end, you do like the little simulated war or whatever. And I remember me and my buddy, we were like camp guard or fire watch, whatever, and we're like, hey, my boy's like, I gotta go take a shit. So we go over to the head, and we go in there, and then there's a platoon in there, and they block off the whole shower room. It's just like a big entry or whatever. Block it off. We're like, what the fuck is going on? And they throw 2 Marines in there, right? This white dude and a black dude, because they were beefing or whatever. Yeah. And these dudes just start going at it, just
getting after it. Yeah.
And then we're like, oh shit, this shit's going down in here, whole fight club, whatever. And then they're like, maybe like 4 more Marines jumped in, and they're all fucking beating the shit out of each other, dude. Fucking sick ass time, dude. Yeah.
I remember I liked our fight club because it was really about beef. Throughout boot camp, it was about beef. Even in ITB, it wasn't like we didn't have a fight club as serious. I didn't in boot camp, but there was definitely still like an organized thing, and it was like if you fucked up and got me fucked up, like we're fighting for it. And after that, it was handled like men. Like you fight, shake hands afterwards. Whoever wins wins. Whoever loses loses. You just move on about your day. That's why I liked it. Like dudes were just handling their beef like how they should. Just get it over with and then shake hands afterwards. Like you got it out.
That's like one thing. Like just like military life, especially like in the Marine Corps. Like you don't ever, and it's a brotherhood too. Like, we're all brothers at the end of the day. But you can't really find that anywhere else.
No,
it's such a personal, exclusive like experience. That like that's what I feel. That's what sets us apart from like a lot of other people.
A lot of every other branch. Like like I could call you a piece of shit, and it would be funny. Like we'd be like, in a joking context. Like you would know I'm joking. But on the outside, like anyone else, be like, why'd you call me a piece of shit? Cry and stuff like. But the camaraderie and the bond that you just get around everyone in the Marine Corps, it's completely different.
All right, bet. All right, so you graduate, ITB, and then was 2-1 your only unit?
Yes, 2-1 was the only unit that I was in.
So you checked in. It must have been
January 5th. January 5th of 2019 or 2018 is 2018? When I checked in. Yep.
Okay, right on. All right, bet. So 2-1 was the only unit, and you checked in. You said January 5th.
Yeah, January 5th of 2018.
2018, right on. As a PFC.
Yeah, checked in as a PFC.
Did you get fucked with?
I mean, as a boot, you kind of just get fucked with. It's inherited as a boot in coming into an infantry unit.
Was it did you always get hazed? Like at least, like how often did you get hazed or get fucked with?
I mean, in reality, it wasn't. In my head, it wasn't really hazing. Today's day and age, a lot of people think that hazing is
getting yelled
a lot of just getting yelled at. I did get hate, like whatever. I don't like. I'm a big boy. I won't call it hazing, but to get fucked up, that was like a normal thing for all of us. Me and my entire peer group. My peer group when I hit the fleet there was 13 of us. All of us equally got fucked with.
Right on. So were you the same company and same platoon?
My entire Marine Corps career, once I hit the fleet, 2-1 Golf. I was a machine gunner, so I moved from platoon to platoon. Machine gunners are attached to platoons. Each of the squads are going to get attached to one platoon. There's usually 3 squads. 3 squads of machine gunners, and 1 squad will go to each of the platoons. So we kind of moved. There wasn't a specific squad that I was always in, or platoon that I was attached to. But always 2-1 Golf.
Right on. And so you said that was beginning of 2018, and when did you go on your first deployment?
I went on my first deployment. Can't remember what year it was, but shit. Let me look it up. Hold on. It would have been 2019, I think, like April of 19.
Because I mean, isn't it like every like 2 years or something?
When me and my peer group got to the unit, we were at our unit was at the beginning of their workup cycle, and our workup cycle was about a year long. So yeah, probably a year from January or from July. July of 19 was my first. July of 19 is when we left for our first deployment, and then we came back later in the year of 19.
31st MU?
Yeah. First deployment was the 31st MU.
In July of 2019?
Yes.
Okay. So you were there for like a whole like year and a half?
On that deployment, no. It was only 6 months.
No, but like you were with 2-1 for like about a year and a half, and then...
Yeah, and then we pushed out on our first deployment.
Nice. And like for the workup, you guys just do like just 29 pounds and then like Bridgeport and all that?
Yeah, normal. So we didn't do Bridgeport because we were boat company, and golf company was boat company. So we did Coronado instead of Bridgeport. But yeah, the normal PB ops, 29 palms, shoot houses, all the normal workups of McCree, all that stuff for an infantry unit, we were doing that before.
So like for like the boat company and you guys go to Coronado, what is that like training like? What do you guys do?
Boat company was sick. So it sucked as we were doing it, but looking back on it, boat company was fun as fuck. There's billets for boat companies, and each of those billets gets sent out to Coronado ahead of time. I was a coxswain. So the rubber boats that you see, the Navy SEALs driving and shit, I learned how to drive one of those while I was in Coronado.
That's pretty
the other billets were maritime nav, and that was usually for platoon sergeants, squad leaders, and sometimes platoon commanders that went to that course. And then boat mechanics, which could have been anyone from the company that went into that billet. And then there was coxswains, and I went to be a coxswain. And it was all in Coronado. The maritime nav dudes got there first, probably 5 weeks before, and then the mechs got there also probably 4.5 weeks. And then the coxswains got there 4 weeks before the rest of the company. You go through a whole pretty rigorous course to learn how to drive that boat, and then the company comes out to meet you, and then you start doing boat raids with your company to prove that you are proficient in being a boat company.
A boat raid? Like, what do you mean, like a boat raid?
So in boat company, like for us, when we did it in Coronado, we left from Del Mar Beach here on Camp Pendleton, and we went out over the horizon, and then we pushed north towards Red Beach on Camp Pendleton, and then we just raided one of the compounds here.
Oh, that's fucking bad.
Yeah, as a part of the end of, it was kind of the climax of the boat package.
Okay.
That was our biggest raid. We did a whole training cycle of going out.
And you're fucking driving this shit?
Yeah, I was driving the boat.
Oh, that's fucking...
Yeah, it was dope.
Dude,
honestly,
cool.
that specific raid, I think that was probably, this is why I look back and say boat company was awesome, because I remember driving the boat coming back from that specific raid, and those boats are small. Like they fit 8 people max with a bunch of gear. Like 8 people on the max limit. You can go higher, but 8 people max.
Yeah.
And as we're riding back in the ocean, I look to my left, just to my left. I could reach out and touch them if I wanted to. There's just dolphins.
Yeah.
Riding next to us, in formation with us.
Yeah.
We're in this big wedge formation. It's 18 of these boats.
Okay.
The big wedge formation to fit the whole company. And we've got these dolphins riding next to us. The sun was rising because it was a nighttime raid. Yeah, it was awesome. It was beautiful.
Did you get any pictures or videos of that?
No, I do have pictures and videos of when we were on deployment and stuff, of me driving the boat. But no, I didn't get any picture of the dolphins.
That's fucking cool, dude.
Yeah. Dolphins, being in boat company is easily the best company. If you're going on a MEU, being in boat company is easily the best company. It sucks. All of it sucks from every perspective.
Like the
training perspective, it sucks. It's hard.
Yeah.
But
so they got you like doing like that Navy SEAL shit where they fucking have you carrying the fucking boats and all that shit?
Yes, that is the entire coxswain's course. Is every morning we'd start out with a run. We'd build our boats. We'd have a timed race. There's 4 boat teams while we were in the course, and we'd have a timed race every morning that you would build your boat, and then you'd have to run a lap. The first week it was 1 lap, and then the second week was 2 laps around this city block, the size of a city block that we would run.
Are you guys carrying the boats?
Yeah, on shoulder, and then as our instructors are walking, like running with us beside us, they would dictate whether or not we go higher or have them shouldered. So like the Navy SEALs, as you see them in the videos, you see them all stretched out like that. For us, that's high boat or high boat. And then when it's on the shoulder, that's our high boat position, and we're running like a city block's worth of a run with those shoulders. Yeah, or with the boat on our shoulders. That sounds like it fucking
sucks.
It does suck.
Are you running on the beach too?
Yeah, yeah. So it would fin it. A lot of times it would fin it. Like you'd build your boat, and you're supposed to beat it. Like it's all a timed event in the course. So you build your boat, and then you start your laps. And at the end of the lap, your finish point would be the beach, Dolphin Beach there, and that's where you would start. Like if you had boats that day and you were going out on boats and you weren't in the classroom learning, that's where it would start. You'd start right there in the water, and that's the start of every day, running laps around the block with with a boat on your shoulders.
And so, like, how many weeks was that? Like,
that was 4 weeks.
4 weeks?
That was a 4-week course, yeah.
Okay. And every day is you guys have weekends off or no?
Yeah, we have weekends off. That was the good thing about it. Being a course that you hit in the fleet, we have weekends off on that. So those were the weekends are what saved a lot of our asses for that. Weekends off for that.
That's a dope course. Sounds like it sucked though.
It sucked. It sucked, but horrible. Even just the memories, the pictures that I have, I'll show you the pictures. The pictures from deployment of me, dudes taking pictures of us driving the boat while we're driving on deployment underneath this big ass LSD, the USS Ashland. We're driving underneath this, and it's probably 40 feet up, or 40 feet plus above the air. And I've got really good, high quality, high def pictures of me driving the boat. Yeah, it's dope. It was probably the most fun I've had on a.
I can't imagine. Just like, cause like in the Marine Corps, you suffer with your boys and shit. Go through all those shitty times, but then like when you look back, you're like, "Dad, dog, those are some good times."
Yep, that's exactly what it is. All like boot camp for you and I. Like, in the moment, it sucks. It sucks. But when you look back at it, it's like, man, that shit was funny. Like I should have been laughing.
Hell yeah, that's fire. All right, so you do all that, and that's like for the workup, right? You said. All right. So for the 31st Mew, like, where'd you guys all go? Did you guys stop at multiple different countries?
Yeah. So we flew to Okinawa. The beginning of our deployment started in Okinawa, and then and we got on ship, and we did a lot of patrols just out in that region. We stopped in 2 places in Australia. We stopped in Brisbane, and then we stopped in Townsville, Australia, and then another location that we went to on that deployment. It wasn't when we floated, but we spent a month in Korea, South Korea, right on the DMZ.
DMZ, that's what is that like?
The border, the border of North and South Korea.
So did you get to see the border? Like,
every morning I remember waking up every morning and like when we were on that base, it was a lot of grown man rules. Even all of us like junior dudes on the deployment, we had a lot of grown man rules. But I would wake up in the mornings and I would just go out on our flight deck. I just sit there and just like collect myself, just have a little moment to myself. And every morning it's just, you look out far enough, probably 1,500-ish meters out is the DMZ. That is that right over there is North Korea. And they had speakers in North Korea so loud that you could hear them playing like music. They would play North Korean propaganda music all the time, so we would hear every morning, or every day actually, as often as they would play it. That's how close we were to the DMZ.
Oh shit.
It wasn't there was no like threat or anything. Like, I think during that time Kim was like threatening nuke shit, but he never did anything. And none of us were really scared. We were there to train and show force, but it was cool. It was cool.
That dude's all talk.
I mean, shit, it's been how many years and he hasn't done it? Come on, man. He's all talk.
That's fucking awesome. All right, so that deployment was like 6 months or whatever.
It was a normal 31st Mew cycle.
Right on. So you get back probably like end of the year, right? December or something like that.
November time. I don't remember exactly, but November time. And then our post-deployment leave matched up with our Christmas leave, so we got like an extended time after that deployment that was all lead block.
Nice. And so this is now end of 2019, beginning of 2020, pandemic and shit. So how was the pandemic like now, and being like in the Marine Corps and all that shit?
The pandemic in the Marine Corps was like vacation. So the pandemic in Marine Corps. So at the time we were in the height of our second workup when the lockdown, like the true lockdown, happened.
So like spring-ish?
That was the height of our second deployment, like the workup for our second deployment. We were doing, I remember specifically the day that we had to stop everything. We were out in the backyard in Las Flores on Camp Pendleton. And we were doing, I think we were teaching the 11th how to use night optics on a machine gun. and like showing them how to use it to be proficient with it. And I remember hearing over the squad leaders all have radios, and they were loud enough for us to hear. And this, we hear, everyone cease training, everyone stop, get 6 feet apart from each other. And like, we're out in the field and we're training. So like in my head, I was like, what the fuck are we like, no one cares. Like we know COVID is a thing. We know the rest of the world is starting to lock out, but being on the Marine Corps base, we kind of got a little bit of freedom in the sense of like timeline. Like a lot of people got locked down in the beginning of the spring, like February time. A lot of people got locked down, but we got to ride it out a couple months into the pandemic to where we could train still. But it was that night, I remember that specific night, they were like, stop everything and everyone gets 6 feet apart. And we brought in, it was that night, everything got stopped and everyone had to stay in their rooms. It was you and your roommate and then your 2 headmates in the building that we were living in. Those are the only people that you were supposed to see. But all of the staff NCOs and all the people that were supposed to watch over all of us at the barracks, they left because they were supposed to. That's the protocol for COVID at the time. Yeah. And we were just walking around our barracks, just going out, having a good ass time. Yeah. It was, I can't even remember how long it was, but it was a long ass time in our workup that we just stopped everything and we just kind of had a good time to just sit around and fucking like drink, play video games. Yeah. And did you have to wear a mask and all that shit? Yeah. The base was really strict with masks for a long time. The base was strict with masks after that night. Even with us, like once you go to the PX, like if you're in your barracks, for us as a company, we kind of knew like all of us are staying in the same region. We're not going out contracting it to other people or getting it. We all had tested negative at that point, so we knew like we were safe. So we didn't have a good mask protocol because we knew we were all safe. We were all hanging around each other for the entire time, so we didn't have the best mask protocol, but we did have masks when we had to go to the PX or anything like that. The chow hall, we'd have to have masks. Yeah. So. And then, did they make you guys get vaccinated and all that too, or no? So they didn't make us get vaccinated, but they strongly suggested it. So for us, when we got pitched the vaccination, I remember our company commander brought everyone into this little like lobby. Well, he didn't bring everyone in at the same time. He would do it in echelons, like each platoon. Like he would sit us in the lobby by platoon. And our platoon went in, and the company commander was like, "Well, listen, we're going on this next deployment, and it's going to be a special purpose MAGTF. And if you want to go, you have to get the vaccine." At the time when it was pitched, it wasn't necessarily like if you refuse, you're going to get ADCEPT. Like a lot of dudes got ADCEPT from that. We never had that when it first happened, but that our company commander pitched it to us as like, hey, if you want to go on this deployment and you want to do your jobs, like you should probably get vaccinated. We're going to be going to Jordan. We knew where we were going at that point. So he was like, we're going to be going to Jordan. And if they won't let people in that aren't vaccinated. So that kind of pushed me to make that decision of getting vaccinated. We had a couple guys that didn't get vaccinated. And they still came on the deployment, but they didn't get to go to Afghan. Yeah. All the dudes, when we finally just like got the call to go to Afghan, all the dudes, if they didn't get vaccinated that were on deployment, they couldn't go. It's stupid. It's stupid. In hindsight, it's fucking stupid. So retarded. Like, why wouldn't you want every single body that we could have? Every fucking trained fucking Marine, that's so retarded. Yeah. I'll say his name, Jesse Rodriguez. He was one of the dudes that didn't get vaccinated, and that dude was a really proficient Marine. Yeah. That dude didn't get an opportunity to go to Afghanistan. Well, he didn't get an opportunity to go to Afghanistan because he decided that the vaccine wasn't. He didn't agree with it. He didn't feel like it was a thing that he needed. A lot of people. He's a young man, a young, fit, healthy Marine. Yeah. And the COVID virus wasn't affecting us. Like we didn't need it. So he was like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. And he still got to go on deployment. But when we finally got the call to go to Afghanistan, I remember he was really upset about it. we all kind of brought him in. We were like, all of us wanted to go. All of us knew we were going on that special purpose MACTAF, and we all knew, like, we don't think it's going to happen, but, like, that's our, like, we want to go and have combat. And then when we finally found out that we were going to Afghanistan, we all looked at him and we were like, fuck, bro, like, you should have got the vaccine.
Yeah.
Because it fucked him. It fucked him out of doing his job that he really wanted to.
Yeah. Do you think that's like looking back on it now, you think he's lucky that he didn't get to go to Afghan?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes, for the sense of he could have got hurt.
Yeah.
He could have got killed.
Yeah.
A lot of things could have happened.
He was in your platoon?
No, he was in a separate platoon, but he was in our company.
All right.
And all of Golf Company was in the area when the bomb happened. So he could have got hurt. He could have got injured. So yes, he is lucky that he didn't get to go for that reason. But no, he's not lucky because shit, if he would have taken, like, all of us wanted to go. Yeah. Even him, like, he wanted to go. And
it's like a dream.
Yeah. Like,
literally.
Especially in our time, it's peacetime. All of us join the Marine Corps to go fucking fight people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what you say. When you join the Marine Corps, if you say you want to go to college or whatever, all of us know in the back of our minds, that's what you want to do. Like, you don't pick the Marine Corps to go sit behind a desk or do some comm job or anything. You go in the intent to, like, know that there's a good possibility you're going to combat. And he got real. That sucked. It sucked seeing him get shafted just because of some fucking stupid ass vaccine.
So even like if you don't join the Marine Corps to go to combat, like, so like I was only a pulley for 3.5 weeks, whatever, and my recruiter told me, like, oh, if you get orders to go to Afghanistan, whatever, you get denied the orders. I'm like, oh, that's perfect, you know, because I don't know shit, and I didn't want to die in war. Yeah. But like once you join the Marine Corps and you go to the boot camp and all this shit, you're like, I want to fucking go.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
A lot of people. I remember being in boot camp. Dudes were like, with the drill instructors. I don't remember what night it was or how long we were in boot camp, but the drill instructors had asked us, like, why did you join boot camp? And one guy, like, the drill instructor points at him and he's like, why'd you go to boot camp? And the guy goes straight up the line from what's the movie with Jake Gyllenhaal, the Marine Jarhead. The line from Jake Gyllenhaal in Jarhead. I got lost on my way to college. He literally, the drill instructor pointed at him. He goes, I got lost on my way to college. And then later on, when I find that dude again and I talk to him, he's like, oh shit, like, yeah, he did want to go. Like, finally, he'd like realized once you're in that situation, and you get around all the people that did want to do it for war, you go with it. Like,
and they're your boys too.
Yeah, they're your boys. The boys that you suffered with, the boys that you got your shit pushed in the dirt. Like, they're your boys. Of course, you're gonna want to continue to do that same thing that they're doing.
But so for that deployment, so you guys deploy like springtime, right? I'm assuming,
springtime of 2019, and then we came back fall time of 2019.
Okay. Well, no, 2021.
Oh, for this the second deployment. Yeah. So we left springtime of 2021 for my second deployment, and then we came back. I came back August 28th of 2020.
Yeah.
2021.
So then, so you guys go straight to what, Jordan?
Yeah. The start of the deployment was straight to Jordan. That's how we got branded the deployment, the special purpose MACTAF. They told us we're going to be in Jordan, setting up a security posture for the base that we had in Jordan. Our company specifically, our company minus actually, we had a platoon go out to Djibouti in Africa, but our company minus was tasked to protect this base, Camp Titten in Jordan.
Okay.
For the beginning of our deployment.
Did they split 2-1 up? Like, were you guys in like different regions of like the Middle East and shit?
So we had guys in our company specifically. We had guys in Djibouti, and then our sister companies, Echo and Fox, they were either in Kuwait or Syria or Iraq. I think it was the Fox company dudes that were in Iraq at Baghdad and all around the Iraq area, and then our Echo company guys were in Syria, or it was vice versa. Those two.
What they were do you know what they were doing in Syria?
A lot of training.
Yeah. Do we still have Marines out there? We still got
not anymore. The global war on terrorism is over. So I'm sure there might be some ones, not onesies, twosies. Yeah. I'm sure there's a small element out there.
Yeah.
But it's not like big, like battalion size or company size or anything. At the time, I was so focused on that deployment on what Golf Company was doing that I don't know what they were doing. Our sister companies were doing, but. Yeah, they were just kind of showing force in Syria. Iran and Syria were acting out around that time frame while we were on deployment.
Okay.
Iran was having some bomb threats, testing some bombs, and we were showing force in Syria, training and doing stuff like that.
Yeah. Was that around the time when Trump fucking fucked up this Iranian general?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right? He hit their convoy with a fucking missile or something.
Yes, we were on deployment for that. Yeah. We were on deployment for that. I remember. So when we were on deployment, Hunter Lopez, he recommended that we download an app. I don't remember the name of the app, but it was an app that was about world news, specifically world news that happened all around everywhere. And that's when we saw the downfall of Afghanistan, and we saw Trump sending a fucking rocket at that dude. We saw all that stuff through that app. Yeah.
Okay. So the app.
We that's where we saw all the news about generals getting bombed and the fall of Afghanistan.
Okay. Yeah, I remember when me and Trailer were doing the interview, he told me that Hunter Lopez was Lopez kept them updated on all the
Lopez was always really, he kept up to date on all of especially the stuff that was happening around us.
Yeah.
All of the he kept in track with all of the fall of Afghanistan. He was watching it as it was happening. I mean, I was watching it too, through the app and stuff. But he was the one that knew all of it. Yeah.
Okay. Who were you closest to from the ones that passed away?
Probably a combination of Paige and Max.
Okay.
Paige and Soviak.
Yeah.
Those two dudes. The beginning or during the workup of this last deployment, I really did get close to them, because our machine gun squad was attached to their platoon.
Okay.
So that's when I really got close to those guys. I had known him. Me and Paige went to ITB together, and throughout the entire workup, I wasn't with First Platoon the entire time, but I'd known those guys just because we watched them. They're all of our company, so we know those guys. But during the workup, I got really close to those two guys.
Nice. All right, so you're tracking. You guys are following all the news and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then you guys, probably get brief you guys are going in.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I remember it to the day. I remember me and it was nighttime when we found out that we were going to Afghanistan. It was nighttime and we were on.
Was it August already?
Huh?
Was it August?
Yeah, it was August. It was. So we found out. We got to Afghanistan 10 days before I got blown up. So that would have been August 16th, probably the night of the 15th, morning of the 16th, that we got into Afghanistan, and we had found out maybe 2-3 days before. So that would have been the 12th, 13th that we found out. But I remember I was on the Overwatch position, and me and my buddy Gretzen, we were sitting up there, and I just see a guy running just down the road on our Overwatch position. This guy's running down the road, and he's running to our inside of our base towards the out gate. I'm like, what the fuck is that guy running for?
Yeah.
And I hear over the radio, it's Lopez. He calls. He says, "Hey, I'm coming to the front post position. And then they have their conversation. And we can see it because we're up on the tallest building at Camp Titten.
Okay.
And we can see them having the conversation. And then we see him start running back towards us. We're like, what the hell? Why is he still running? Like,
yeah,
nothing's bad happening. Nothing bad is happening. And he comes running, and then he radios to us that he's coming up to our spot. So we're like, okay, we open the door for him, get ready for him to come upstairs. And he showed us. He said he showed us an article that said Joe Biden has accepted or has confirmed that he is sending 2,000 troops to Afghanistan.
Oh,
that was the day that. It wasn't confirmed,
yeah.
But that we that at least I knew that, yeah, we're gonna go. We're in the area. We're the closest people there. A lot of guys in 2-4 got spun up back here, like getting ready to go. But I knew that we were gonna be the ones. It's just kind of we're here. We're in the AO. That we have to send. You have to send us. So that was the day that we kind of got the notion that we were going to Afghanistan, and then. Later that was the nighttime, so we had have fixed all of our sleep schedules to sleep during the daytime. So nighttime we finished watch, and then later in that day, after we get off our watch post at 8 a.m. or whatever time it was, they confirmed it. Like, yeah, we're going.
Nice. How'd you feel? Like excited? Probably excited.
Yeah, fucking excited.
Yeah.
Excited. Excited. I even when Lopez came up the stairs and like he showed me that like as soon as he said it and he had left, he went back to the duty hut because he was he was a COG. He was a COG for the night. He went back to the hut. I was talking to Gretzl. I was like, this is it. A lot of people didn't get to do what we are trained to do. Our seniors, even my seniors, didn't get to do what. We all want to do. Yeah. As all infantry Marines, we all want to go to combat and see some shit.
I mean, it was like a solid, like, almost 10 years of pretty much, like, peacetime.
Yeah.
Like, because, like, by the time I fucking finished all my training, boot camp, FT, MOS school, and all that shit, I finally checked into my unit. Yeah. Dude, my unit fucking...
It's peacetime. Yeah, no one's going to war anymore.
It was the last fucking deployment a year ago, you know?
Yep. When I hit the fleet... My seniors were the last people kind of to do Syria, and they didn't even see direct combat. I don't know them personally, but around that time frame, it was Syria. That was our biggest threat, and that had dwindled down. So none of my seniors had seen combat before, and none of my peers had seen combat, and none of my junior Marines had seen combat until.
Yeah. I mean, this era of Marines are now, none of them are
combat. None of them are combat. None of them are even as we start as national defense. All of us in the Marine Corps started at national defense and global war on terrorism. The global war on terrorism is over. The national defense ribbon is gone. Privates coming out of boot camp are going to have clean khaki shirts. That's crazy, right? No ribbons, nothing. No war, nothing. I mean, the war's been over for a while.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't had large-scale conflict, but yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Dude, if I would have joined right out of high school, I probably would have seen, like, one of the last pumps.
Yeah.
I waited 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Even 2 years back then.
Nothing.
Yeah, 2 years, you would have probably, if you would have joined that 2 years prior, you would have hit that cut.
Yeah.
The last
one of the last ones.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I got to be the last one. I got to be the last one in the global war on terrorism.
Yeah.
Me and my group.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, when you guys are like, when I fucking see you guys and cut you guys up and shoot the shit with you guys, and, like, I just feel like, I feel almost, like, lucky to, like, even, like be in your presence and shit like that. You're fucking here.
Yeah. And see, that's just crazy to me. Like, I think I can speak for all of us, all of my group that got injured. It's crazy to us because none of us really feel famous. It's not really like a crazy thing. Like, to me, I realize, like, those 13 Marines will go down as in history. Their stories will be told in boot camp. Their stories will be along the same lines as everything that guys get taught in boot camp now.
Yeah.
But it doesn't click for me that I'm a part of that group as well. Like, I got injured, but It doesn't click for me, and I think it's the same thing for all the other guys, like Sanchez, Trailer, Wilson, all of us. Like it's hard. Like it's weird.
You guys were there and all that, but like for people who weren't there and seen it from the outside in and shit, it's just like, dude, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
that's fucking insane.
Yeah,
you know. I bet. So you remember like getting on the flight line and going on the C-130 and flying out and all that shit?
Yeah, the day before. So I remember. So that night that we found out, we kind of, even before like it got confirmed, our platoons aren't staffs aren't EB now. Gunneries aren't EB. He prepared us really well. He was like,
"Is that the Ghost One Bravo?"
Yes, on Instagram. Ghost One Bravo. Gunnery sergeant now, staff sergeant at the time, EB. He prepared us. Like when we got the confirmation, we saw that article. He was like, "Listen, I'm not going to tell you guys. I don't know personally." He's like, "I'm not going to tell you guys if we're going or not, but just prep yourself to be ready. Like if it happens." And there's a good possibility. We all kind of knew that there was a good possibility. He was like, "Just prep yourself and be ready to go." So that night that we got off of that Overwatch position, I remember I was in my room fucking packing my shit, like getting ready to like consolidate it. I knew we weren't going to take everything because we brought gym supplements, civilian attire. We don't need that shit in Afghanistan. So we prepped all of our shit to stage it and get it to get it sent back to wherever we were going, Kuwait. To hold it for us.
Yeah, that's a pretty wild thought. Like thinking you're gonna leave your shit here, deploy, and then come back to your shit. Yeah, and like that's not how it happened. At least for you, deploy and then all this shit happened, and you know.
I remember
you never came back to that spot.
I remember packing that night, and I called my mom, I called my dad, and I called my sister that night, and I didn't tell them where I was going or anything, just OBSEC purposes. But anyone with two eyes knew what the fuck was happening. So I told my mom. I told her, I was like, "Hey, Mom, I don't know if you've seen the news recently, but Joe Biden has confirmed that he's sending 2,000 troops into Afghanistan." And then after that, I kind of paused, and she was like, "Yeah, I saw that." And I told her, I was like, "I'm going to be going radio silent for the next few days." So she kind of knew. And that night, packing, it was just kind of like almost like an ominous feeling of like, damn, like we get to go do this shit. Like I remember I called my dad. I told him the same exact thing. I was like, if you got two eyes, you can see where I'm going. Like I laid it out for him. But yeah, it was an ominous thing that night, that day. It was ominous, but it was good. It felt good. Like we get to go. We get to go do our job. Yeah. Yeah. But it was unknown because we knew how fucking crazy Afghanistan was going to be. At least I did. I knew how crazy it was going to be. Like when you see an entire country collapsing from the outside in, everyone's trying to leave that country and escape the Taliban, and they're all going to Kabul. They're all going to the capital and the one major airport to get out. So we kind of knew what the fuck was going to happen. We knew that it was going to be insane. At least I did. I just had that notion in the back of my head. There's the population at the time when we heard that we were getting sent to Kabul was 4.5 million people. So in my head, I was thinking, well, that's 4.5 million people right there trying to get to that fucking airport on top of everyone else in the country trying to get to that fucking airport. So I at least knew that it was going to get crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember during that time, my wife and I, so we're living in Jersey, like where my family's at. And so she accepted the job for Wounded Warrior, like in July. So by end of July, we got to find an apartment, all this shit. So I remember seeing bits and pieces on the news and all that, but like, you know, my mind is somewhere else. Busy, moving and all that shit. Yeah, moving across the country. Yeah, so like around this time, so we got here like end of July 2021. And then meanwhile, you guys are like preparing to do all this fucking wild shit. And that's so crazy to think how, like, my first day at this barbershop was probably like your first day in Afghanistan.
What was your first day?
It was here. August 16th.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, that's literally the day that I stepped foot. It was either the night of the, like, maybe like 11, 12 p.m. or the morning, like 1, 2, because we landed at nighttime, but it was the 16th. I was only in Afghanistan for 10 days. We got blown up on the 26th, so 10 days before that would have been the 16th. Yeah. So it would have either been the morning or the nighttime, the nighttime of the 15th or the morning of the 16th. Yeah. Literally, as you were starting here, I was taking my first steps in Afghanistan.
And then, like, I remember as soon as I started fucking working, that's when everything starts like popping off on TV and the Marines and all that shit. I'm like, what the fuck? This is fucking wild. Dude, I remember like showing my son. He was like 7 or 8 at the time. Showing him like all the news articles, and showing all the Marines. Oh, this is what we fucking do. And blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
and
it's a crazy time. Marine Corps small like that.
Yeah.
I remember meeting, or in boot camp even, to show you how small the Marine Corps is. In boot camp, one of my drill instructors graduated from, me and him graduated from the same high school in Kenosha.
Oh, no way.
That's how small the Marine Corps is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, the same sense as, like, you were doing that, like, as you were, all of that, you're still in the Marine Corps. Like, that whole tie is happening. That tight-knit shit, it happens everywhere.
Yeah. Right on. So, all right, so let's fast forward. So you guys fly into fucking Afghanistan. You have all your shit, and you're on the bird or whatnot. And what are your thoughts? And I guess just take it from there up until the bombing.
Yeah. Okay. So I remember when we were on the bird. I remember I purposely kept my headphones on me. I kept them in an admin pouch on my kit. I kept my AirPods on me, and I was listening to music pretty much the whole flight. I was listening to a playlist that I had made. It's like a pre-war playlist. I call it. That's the name of it. I wrote it as a pre-war playlist, and it's got a bunch of good songs on it. And I just listened to that shit on repeat. And that was like kind of my prep.
Yeah, like
me personally. Or something. Yeah. Like it's like your gym playlist. It's like my prep, because I didn't know what was going to happen. Obviously, none of us knew what the fuck was going to happen, but I knew that it was going to be chaos. Just the context clues kind of just showed that it was going to be fucking insane. Like, we know the Taliban is trying to kill a lot of people and forcing everyone into this specific spot that we're about to land on. So I had to, like, I just took a second to get zen. As I was on that plane, I listened to this playlist over and over again. I don't remember how long the flight was, but for the whole flight. And we get there, and I remember they told us over the intercom, and the flight crew came and told us, they were like, we're coming on deck. And when we landed, we didn't know what the situation was on the ground, and all of us had actually seen the videos of dudes falling off of planes.
Oh, okay.
We didn't know it. We didn't see it personally. I never saw anyone falling off a plane personally.
Yeah.
And none of our guys saw that personally. But we had seen it all on the news through that app. We had seen it all unfolding. Everything those days before.
Yeah.
We had seen it all unfolding, and we knew that's when we were landing into. So when we were landing, we were like, fuck, it's going to be hot. Our company commander told us before we left, it was like, I don't know what the situation is going to be, so we're going to prepare for the worst. We're going to prepare like it's going to be a fucking hot zone. So we land on deck, and as soon as we feel the wheels touch, I was like, here the fuck we go. I don't know what's going to happen, but as soon as that door drops, it could be a gunfight. Yeah. So I was prepared for it. And as soon as that fucking door hits the ground, we just walk. We just walk off that fucking plane. Like, the lead guy, like, I was towards the back of the plane, so we're just walking. And I'm like, fuck, like, where's the gunfight? Like, and it was just walking. The same way as Tyler.
Like, you were in the front?
No, I was in the back. We were in the backside, okay. And I remember just keeping my head down because I had a gun, I had a 240 on my back, I had my full pack, I had everything on me, and it was a heavy load. So we were just fucking walking. And it was weird. It was a long ass runway walk. And I was like, well, shit, this isn't as bad as I thought. The same way as Tyler explained it, as the girl coming up with her Kevlar off and saying, welcome to Afghanistan. It was kind of the same situation. We were like, what the fuck? Like, all right, this isn't what we were expecting. But yeah, we walked and we stopped at this building, and we kind of waited for tasking there. It was, as soon as we got there, it was just like, what the fuck are we here to do? Like, what's happening? Like, we need to get on the ground and we need to figure out what's happening so we can figure out where we're going. So we got there and our company commander figured out where we were going. We had set into the gym. It's like at Kabul, there was two domes, like two tent domes that had gyms on either side. One side was weightlifting, the weightlifting side, and that was where the Echo Company guys and the snipes guys, a lot of guys stayed. And then the other side was like the cardio side, so they had treadmills and stuff, and that's where we stayed. And that night we had set in, we went to that gym, we dropped all of our shit off, and we waited for tasking. And they let us go to sleep that night. And they were like, we're going to wait for tasking the next morning. The rest of our sister companies have been on the ground. And 1-8 had already been on the ground enough, and they had secured enough of a foothold that we didn't have to do things immediately. So we went and we slept for the first night that we were there, and then we got tasking to go open Abbey Gate the next morning. And yeah, that's where it all kind of started. We left that tent, and we got the big blue van that we spray painted 2-1 Golf on, the trailer was talking about. We got that big blue van, and we started carting dudes out to Abbey Gate. And our platoon was first. We were first platoon, so we started going out there first. And I remember, as we get to Abbey Gate, we didn't know what it looked. Obviously, none of us had ever been to HKIA. None of us had been to Afghanistan and Kabul. So none of us knew what the fuck exactly what we were looking into. But we had known that we were going to a gate to open it, to start letting people in, to start processing them, to get them out of the country. And I remember as our entire platoon gets there, we were third squad, so we were one of the last squads that shows up. And our entire platoon stages before the gate. And I remember the gate was closed and people are like, you could hear it. Like, it was like nothing I'd ever experienced before. I've been in some big crowds, like music, like concert crowds. I've been in a Red Hot Chili Peppers crowd that has 40,000 people in it. Just beyond that wall was so many people that is louder than a full-blown concert. A full-blown concert. It's louder than that. There's so many fucking people out there. That was the first time that we had interacted, like, that we had known, like, yeah, this is going to get fucking... So it's going to get crazy.
You couldn't see them because of the wall?
No, the gate was still closed. We were there to come open it and help Echo Company get the fuck out from. They were on the outside of the wall and trying to settle the crowd and stuff. So we were there. We were getting there to come support them. Open the gate to start the process. And as we show up, I remember we had a plan and we echeloned it as first squad is going to go out there and they're going to start, and we're going to, like, second squad and third squad is going to line up and be the line with these civilians come through, because we knew there was going to be a lot of people, so we started to set a line. And as we opened the door, as soon as that door opened, it was like fucking horses coming through the door. Like, just full force, nothing you could do to stop it. That door pushed open. And we did everything that we could to push it back closed, and dudes were getting fucked up just because there were so many people, so many Afghan citizens just trying to get into the Abbey Gate because they knew we were opening it. I remember that there was a PJ standing on top of one of the vehicles, just blasting rounds off with his Glock, like just bang, 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 trying to control people. I
remember Taylor saying that.
Yeah, trying to control people in that moment. And I was third squad, so first squad goes up there, and they were there for maybe 45 seconds until they were like, second squad, get the fuck up here. And we were like, oh shit. Like in my head, I was like, oh shit, second squad's getting, or like first squad's getting fucked up. They're asking for another squad. And then it's like maybe a minute later, it was third squad, get the fuck up in less than a minute, but like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It was immediately, as soon as we got to that gate, it was all hell broke loose. Everything was chaos. There was no organization. There was no plan. There was nothing because the Afghan citizens just took over. It was like, you can't stop it at that point.
So is this that riot that trailer talks about?
Yes, that trailer talks about in your interview. At them, when him and Sanchez, Humberto, were fighting that crowd and him swinging his Kevlar, that's that same fight. Okay. He was in second squad, so he was the second squad going up to go help first squad, and I came in behind them. Like, we came in behind them. Our squad came in behind them.
So were you, trailer, and Humberto all second squad?
No, I was in third squad. Trailer and Bert were in second squad.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, it was our first squad that got sent. So that was like Paige was in that squad. I remember even afterwards while we were there, Paige was talking about like the moment that door opened, he got sucked into that crowd, like and like on the ground, the same way that we saw dudes getting trampled and like just trampled to death. That was a common thing. Like Paige is on the ground and we were like, fuck, like we made it a point. Like that was he was. That first day that we got on deck, as soon as those doors opened, that dude got trampled so bad. Like, I don't remember who it was. I don't want to misquote, but one of our guys had grabbed him and literally looked at him and was like, "Motherfucker, we're going!" Like, we pulled him out and we got him into the crowd. That's how crazy it was. Day one. There's a picture. I know. There's a picture out there. I know
exactly who you're talking about. That pulled Paige up. Trailer talks about a Marine. I forgot.
I think it was Bert. I think it was Bert that pulled him out, or someone, or Thompson, or someone. I know him. I just can't remember. TBI brain's got me forgetting shit.
The Marine that pulled Paige out, is he a big dude?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm trying to think of all the big ass dudes that were in our platoon at the time. Cardona could have been one of them.
I think that's the one.
Cardona would have been able to pull him out of that crowd. Yeah. It was a big ass dude.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact name, but that was word of mouth story. That wasn't my story, but I remember Paige talking about it when we were still there. Like, he was just on the ground, and he's just like, at that point, you just kind of commit. It's like, I might fucking die right here, right now. First real day in Afghanistan. Like, I'm getting trampled, and we pulled him out. That crowd, there's a picture on it of it on Instagram. I'll show you, of the first day. And you can see it, the crowd of people, and you can see our line. At the bottom of the photo is our line of dudes, and you can see helmets. And then the rest of the photo is tens of thousands of people.
I think I saw that. Was it like
thousands of people? Like an up-down shot, and like you can see like a Marine kind of looking back up like
yes,
and there's a whole big ass crowd,
right?
That was day one for us. That was day one for us. Yep, it was daytime, bright out. That was day one for us at Abbey Gate. That was the day we opened it.
Wow.
Yeah, that big ass crowd. That was day one.
Goddamn. And you guys were there, I think, from what Trailer told me, fucking forever, right?
Yeah, every day. There was one day that we spent not at Abbey Gate, and they had finally, our company commander had finally, or our battalion commander had finally given our company a break from Abbey Gate, because as soon as Golf Company landed on deck, we opened Abbey Gate and we operated at Abbey Gate and did everything there. But there was one day, probably like 5-6 days in, that we got to go inwards towards the terminals and process a different side. We moved in our platoon and we started processing people on the line. So it was actually pretty cool that day, because we had seen the people that we had pulled out of the canal. Like me, I'd seen one of the dudes that I had pulled out of the canal personally.
Yeah.
That had the right paperwork. And it's like a full circle moment that I got to see him later in the line. Like, it was a long ass line, so that shit would take hours, days for them.
Okay.
There were so many people that it would take days. And I would see these people that we were pulling out personally. I'm like, that dude made it. Like, that dude's safe. Like, we saved that guy's life.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so I remember Trailer telling me that if I remember, so you guys pushed them off.
Yeah.
And then you guys had like a little break for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go through that.
And then they freaking broke through again.
Yeah. So I'll go through that too. The first day we'd opened the gate, and we dealt with that chaos during the day, all day. And then that night, we had gotten told that we were going to push all these people back to the Baron Hotel, to the Taliban checkpoint, and gain space to get outside of the Abbey gate so we could just have space to work. So yeah, we stood online all night long for, I remember it was just 2 lines of Marines just pushing thousands of people back all night long to get to the Baron Hotel, and it's just shoulder to shoulder, arms linked, walking forward, pushing these people back because they're all trying to come towards us to get to the gate, and we had to push them back, and they didn't want to push back because they didn't want to lose their spots at the front of the gate.
Yeah.
So it was like we had to push them back, and we pushed them back to the Taliban checkpoint. And yeah, I remember I was on the far right of that line. There was 2 sections of the line that we were pushing them back. It was split by a divider in the middle, the whole way up, all the way to the Taliban checkpoint. I was on the right side, and I see everyone sit. And I'm thinking, like, what the fuck? Why is everyone sitting? We need these people to move back. Our objective is right there. We were probably 50 meters away from the Baron Hotel, and all the civilians sit down. Whew, excuse me. All the civilians had sat down, and they didn't want to move. They would refuse to move, even when we tried to move them. And then we finally look up, and we're like, oh, they don't want to walk back into the Taliban. Mm-hmm. But as we're pushing them back, we can't walk. Well, they don't want to walk back to the Taliban. So we had prepped. Like, as we look up and recognize and see the Taliban for the first time in Afghanistan, we just kind of, it was like a Mexican standoff. Like,
yeah,
they're pointing gun, like, they're standing on top of their barricades. We're standing our ground. Like, holy shit!
So you guys have your rifles pointed at them?
Yeah. So like, I remember just being ready, just posted, and you're like, all right, just keep your eyes on these people, because in our eyes, at least in my eyes, for the past 20 years, we've been fighting the Taliban. We've been fighting the Taliban. This might not be the same people over 20 years, but we've been fighting the Taliban, and that's Taliban.
And that's literally all your training has been pretty much
to fight, directed to fight the Taliban. Yes. Yeah. To fight the Taliban, Al Qaeda, things like that, insurgency groups in that region.
See them for the first time.
Yeah, that was the first time we'd seen them. I heard it was like, fuck, like, we don't have the ROEs to attack these motherfuckers. Like, for me personally, I remember seeing them for the first time when I was like, 20 years we've been fighting these motherfuckers, and I'm now supposed to expect them to be my friend. Like, those are our allies now. And I just remember being mad the entire time. Like, our first initial action as we see them should be to kill them. Yeah. And we didn't get to do that because we were supposedly working with the Taliban. Yeah. So yeah, we had posted up, we got ready because they had posted their dudes up on their checkpoint, and they had gotten ready. So we just reciprocated. We were like, "You want to get ready, motherfucker? We got a whole company's worth of 2 companies worth of people ready, waiting for your maybe squad plus." So like 15 to 17 people that they had there.
Oh, you would have fucked them.
Yeah, it would have been over. Yeah. But yeah, that was the first time we'd seen the Taliban, and we kind of halted positions because the Taliban did not want to give up their position. They didn't want to give up their blockade, but we needed to take their position for the Baron Hotel. So we waited there for a little bit, and we had seen State Department dudes and a couple of special operators come up, or special forces operators come up and negotiate with the Taliban. I remember watching my platoon or my company, my company's commanding officer, Captain Ball, and our first sergeant walk around the corner.
Dude, I cut his hair.
Which one?
Captain Ball. He was a major.
Yeah.
Like,
was he a major?
After Sanchez's interview, like a week after, 2 weeks after, he made an appointment. I cut his hair.
Damn. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. I remember watching Captain at the time, Major Ball now, and our first sergeant Lamelli walk around the corner with these Taliban dudes and State Department dudes. Yeah, it was like crazy. It was crazy to us because in my mind I was like, why are we letting these motherfuckers walk around a corner? Like, we need to have support and eyes on these people. But apparently the Taliban was our friend, so they were going to go have negotiations to tell them that they needed to move their checkpoint so we could set in the chevron of Connex boxes.
Okay.
The flying V's worth of Connex boxes that we had.
So like just organize this whole...
Yeah, to organize all of the chaos of people, tens of thousands
all right, let me get this straight. So you guys pushed the crowd to where the Taliban was. You guys had this Mexican standoff, and then State Department comes.
Yes.
And then along with, with higher ups under the company, and to negotiate
to negotiate moving the Taliban's checkpoint so we could put our checkpoint in to be in control of this section.
Was it like mostly the State Department doing the talking, and then...
I don't know. They were around the corner. They were in that alley, so we didn't know exactly what was happening.
Oh, but you see them, they're just like face to face.
Yeah. They were however far away, but yeah, that was what they were doing. So when we stopped, our company, like all of our higher ups started to come forward, like, why are we stopping? And then they realized, oh, we have to stop because of the Taliban. Then they realized, hey, we need to move all of their shit, because in all reality, all of our plan was to get to the Baron Hotel and set up an actual blocking position in that spot that the Taliban had a checkpoint. So we needed them to move, and the Taliban didn't want to give it up. I could see it on all of their faces. The commander's face, he was angry, as the State Department dude in
from the Taliban.
Yes, at that section. The commander was angry. I didn't know what the fuck he was saying because they're speaking whatever. But I could see it in his face. He's angry. He's like angry that we're trying to take his checkpoint away and put our checkpoint in place because they want to be in control.
Wow. Do you feel like that was the plan all along, was to push this crowd over here and then negotiate with the Taliban, or do you feel like it was to push them and then like it was just, this is what happened and they just try to figure out right there?
Yeah, I think it was the latter. I think it was our plan was our main objective was to get to the Baron Hotel, to get the British, because from the entrance of Abbey Gate, it was probably 150 to 200 meters past to get to the Baron Hotel, the entrance to the Baron Hotel. And all of that was occupied by just Afghan citizens, just people. So we had to get that ground so we could work it, and the British could be able to get from the airport inside to their embassy. So we worked it all the way to there, and I don't think it was a plan to meet the Taliban there, but they probably knew that we were pushing back to that point and set up that blockade there.
Yeah. And when we were talking earlier, when you said like you guys had to like break the line like before the suicide bombing, and the line got pushed all the way towards Abbey Gate, is that the line that you're talking about?
Yeah, so that whole stretch in Tyler's interview, that whole stretch of however long he said, I don't remember the exact distance, that whole stretch, that was what we were pushing back for.
Okay, so that's what he's talking about right there.
That whole stretch that he's talking about on the left side, that canal, that's what we're pushing for, is ground there.
Okay.
So
that
the road that we were pushing back was here, and the canal was to the left side of the road as you're looking out of Abbey Gate. And we wanted control of all of it because it's right outside of the gate. And we want to be able to control who comes in and out of that gate, because we have to. Like, we can't just be letting willy-nilly people who are there for a reason to assist the evacuation. So we pushed out to the Baron Hotel to get ground, a footing.
All right. All right, so they negotiate, and then you guys are able to move all these Connex boxes, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
to have some type of organization on how to process people and kick people out.
Yeah. Okay. They had their negotiations, and then finally the Taliban had let us move their stuff. We brought records and stuff to move all their stuff, because there was like probably 4 cars along with sea wire, trash, everything as their blockade, and we were going to bring Connex boxes in. So after the negotiation happened, they allowed us to move their checkpoint so we could put our checkpoint in.
Okay. Right on. And so I guess just continue from there. You know.
So after that,
how many days is this already?
That would have been night 1. Well, we landed the 16th, and then we slept, and then the next morning we opened the gate, and that night we pushed them all back and had that standoff. So that would have been 2 days into being in Afghanistan. And then after that point, it was kind of a goal for us in our company to make it organized. Everything that we had worked for that night, we had to make it organized. That entire section was now our responsibility.
Okay.
Instead of just Abbey Gate being at the gate, Abbey Gate actual, we pressed out and pushed, and we had guys up at the Baron Hotel by the Chevron and stuff, and all throughout that canal line to organize things, because that crowd was, if any spot, like if one person saw people getting pulled in, like if a crowd of people saw a group of one specific family getting pulled in, the entire crowd is rushing to that spot because they think that they can get in there. So we were the ushers, pretty much, to get them through, to secure that they had proper documentation to send them further in.
Okay.
And then we pushed through that entire day after. That's probably 2 days worth of just ushering work, like playing God, pretty much, deciding who's good to come in and who isn't. If you had the right paperwork, you could come, and if you didn't, you just had to go. We couldn't do anything. We had to let you go. Those were those 2 days. And then we had our little stint inside the airport. That was probably 4 or 5 days in that we had our time inside, and then we went back to Abbey Gate. We had a night of rest. It was all go. From the night that we landed, we had times where we could take a break, but it was sleeping for an hour and a half, 2 maybe.
Yeah.
In shitty gravel on your isomat, if you're lucky, if you brought it. If you were smart enough to bring your isomat out to the gate and back from our bivouac site, like, you got to sleep on that. But that first 4 or 5 days there was all Abbey Gate, and then the little bit at the inside of the terminal. And then we went back to Abbey Gate after the terminal. It was Abbey Gate from that point on. We were supporting the British people outside of our chevron. We were controlling the lines inside of the chevron. We were standing up on the wall, pulling people out of the canal that had proper paperwork. We were telling people to leave when whatever the job was there for our company. That was our tasking. Just find a job in that AO or in that section that we had secured and do it. Like, just get what you had to do done. And I remember there was this time that we had, I was sitting down on the inside of the chevron, and our squad had just gotten a start on rotation. We had an internal platoon rotation of, like, first squad's going to stand on this line, second squad's going to stand on this line, and third squad's going to rest. Stuff like that. And we were sitting inside of the chevron, and we're looking up at these dudes on top of the Baron Hotel, and they're looking down at the British dudes, like, trying to force the crowd on the outside. And they're asking us, they're like, they scream back towards us, they all look towards us, and they're like, we need Marines to go help them now. We didn't know exactly where they were, we just knew it was outside the Chevron, and we just ran. Like, that was it. We were just trying to help everyone where we could, organize things, keep things in line that was our task.
Okay. So just work all of...
Yeah. There wasn't, like, a lot of times, we got specific tasking over a lot of things, but it was never a secured thing. It was always changing. Just get in line. As soon as that first day happened and we knew, like, hey, we're opening the gates, that's what we knew that we were going to be doing. Every time that it was our time to start working again, which was often, we worked for, I remember shit. I had texted one of my buddies back home and I said, yeah, we just got done working 36 hours straight. That first 3 days, it was like no sleep, no nothing. You just work.
Yeah.
You get there, you let dudes sleep that need to sleep, and you just work. Pulling people out, finding the right people.
Were you, like, how did you feel, like, a 36-hour shift, like, fucking, are you just completely dead? Yeah, I mean, obviously, but like...
At the end of it, I mean, as weird as it is to say, I love being in that situation. Like, I love being in Afghanistan. And, like, I think this is something that I can say for most of us. If I got the chance to go back, I'd go back. Even though I got fucking hurt. And a lot of people got hurt. I'd go back and do it all again, because that 36 hours... it sucked. I was tired. All of us were tired, but it was like, I'm here to do my job, and I'm finally getting to do it. Like, let's keep doing it. So it sucked. Physically, you could feel it, but mentally, we were like, yeah, let's just keep going. From my perspective, it was like, yeah, let's keep going. Like, we want to do more. We're here to do a job.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did you see the Taliban execute anyone?
Yeah. So
more than one?
No, it was only, well, yes, it was 3 people at one time, but it was only one occasion that I'd seen Taliban execute people. It was one of the times that the British people were out, like, trying to control the crowd outside of the Chevron, and we had to go run and help them. And I remember the British dudes were yelling at us. They were like, we need Marines to go help them. And me and my team, we all looked at each other. We're like, fuck it, we're ready to go. Well, we're ready to go help them. We ran immediately. As soon as they said it, I was the first person around that Chevron. And as soon as I walked through, I just see a line of British dudes holding off thousands of Afghans. So I'm like, all right, I got to help here. And I hit these 2 British dudes in the back. And I get in between them and I hold their riot shields. It's just a riot shield line of dudes. And they're holding all these people back. And I get in between. And I remember looking through that riot shield line and seeing all these people. And
like tens of thousands of people.
Yeah, just tens of thousands of people. Taliban included. Like, in the crowd, controlling, like, trying to control things. And this flashbang got thrown over our head. It was a 9-bang, actually. It got thrown over our head, and I remember seeing it come over out of my peripheral and landing right next to this Taliban dude in the middle of the crowd, probably about 10, 15 feet past the riot shields that I was at. And it bangs off, and he's got an AK in his hands, and it bangs, and it hits him. And he just gets pissed, and he's, like, also trying to he's in the crowd, like, getting shoved around, so he just looks at, like, and he's, like, trying to get in control of the crowd, and he just takes his AK and just boom. But just boom, boom, boom. And everyone around him in that immediate circle just stopped and just backed the fuck up because they didn't want to die by the Taliban. So I remember seeing that. But in regards to executions, that was the only one that I saw personally with my own eyes. But when you hear the entire time, as soon as we landed in Afghanistan, you hear gunfire. Like, you hear it off in the distance, and you hear bursts. You hear do-do-do-do-do. And that's like people, in my head, that's a Taliban, like, trying to control a crowd. But you'd also hear douche, douche, douche.
Like one at a time type thing?
Yeah, like single shots.
Yeah.
That's when you knew they were executing people. Because it's one in a line, bang, bang, bang. Not like a controlled burst up in the air.
Yeah.
So you heard that all the time. Like I couldn't count the amount of times that I heard that. Just gunfire over on the back of the Chevron, because on the back side of that Chevron, we couldn't see what they were doing, so they got froggy. They just did whatever the fuck they wanted because it's the Taliban and they're pieces of shit. They were just killing people out there, and you heard that because we were in earshot of that, and you just hear bang, 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 and you know those are executions. It's not crowd control, that's executions.
If this is a random question.
Mm-hmm.
Is someone in the Taliban like saw this interview right now? What would you say to them?
Fuck you. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I had to stand side by side, shoulder to shoulder, with a man that represented nothing but hatred towards Americans. And that feeling for me personally, as I look at it now, in the moment I was just ready. Like I was ready to just shoot this motherfucker. Like you could see me in the video like prop up and like get ready to shoot him, but I couldn't. The ROE stated we can't shoot Taliban if they're not harming us. But in the moment, I'm just thinking like, this dude and his family and his friends and everyone before him, all he represents is killing Americans and hating Americans and his own personal gain and vendetta. So fuck you. If you're watching this shit, fuck you. You caused so much trauma and so much hatred for a lot of dudes that had seen the war escalate over and over and then had to witness us being friends with them. They didn't deserve that. Dudes that my platoon sergeant had seen his own friends die by the Taliban's hand. And then he had to go into that deployment watching us be allies with the Taliban. Fuck that. That shit sucks. So if you're watching this, fuck you.
Right on.
Thank you.
All right. All right. So you saw the execution and
yeah. So executions. Yeah, I remember getting being on that line and just seeing this Taliban dude get hit with a 9 bang, and then he just gets that made him upset, and he just goes bang, 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 and he kills these 3 dudes, and it's pretty common. You kind of just roll with the punches with that stuff when you see it in the moment.
Do you kind of just get like after a while just like desensitized to it, like to like
yeah?
the gunshot
After day one. Day one was the biggest shock. Day one was the biggest shock because you see everything. Well, at least for us, we saw everything. That day when we opened the gate, you see execution, like people had seen executions. People had seen kids get trampled, women get trampled, men get trampled, everything. Like, you see dead bodies all over because it was that day one was, besides the 26th, was the most chaotic day. There was no order, no anything. Everyone was just...
So when you guys push that sea of people back, there's bodies on the floor.
Yeah, kids, women, men. I mean, after we had secured the location, we had moved. I would assume people had moved those bodies, but I remember just walking past as we're pushing past, and you'd seen people that had gotten trampled trying to get into the gate.
Okay, just getting ran over.
Yeah, literally, the Afghanistan people there, the civilians there were so many of them that if you fell,
You're
good
done.
luck getting up.
Yeah.
Good luck getting up. If you didn't have someone taking the time to stop and help you up, you're not getting up. You'll die. If you fall, it's that. There's so many people that if you fall, you're fucked. you're dead. Just like that. No question about it.
And then the children are fucking...
Yeah, and the children are helpless because if they're young, then they're in their parents' arms, and then they might get knocked out of their parents' arms, and they're just young, and they have all these adults around them, like just pushing, and they might fall. Done.
Fuck. Like those bodies. I guess I should just ask you that. What does it look like to like somebody who got trampled?
I mean, the body doesn't look like in cartoons you see like when something
Like
gets
flat.
trampled like flat. It doesn't look exactly like that. It still keeps its shape, but you can tell that person is unconscious. Like you can tell that person is not with us because they're battered up, bruised up. Like it's almost like if you watch someone,
like internal injuries and
if you had seen someone get jumped, like the videos of the dudes getting jumped. If you had seen someone getting jumped, that's what it looked like. Is just someone that had just been fucking beat the fuck up. Yeah, it sucked. It sucked watching it. It sucked seeing it. But in my head, it's like, damn, like, these people wanted out. Like, you know, those people that got trampled wanted out.
Yeah.
And they didn't get a chance. Especially the kids.
Yeah.
Fucking sucks.
Yeah, no, I got a 4-year-old, so.
Yeah, I have a little brother, 6 or 8 now. 16 years younger than me. And you see kids like that same age.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, fuck, man. They don't deserve shit like that. Yeah. They don't deserve the Taliban down their fucking throat going to knock on their doors and kill them just because they say they don't want to join the Taliban. They don't deserve that stuff. Those people that got trampled, they didn't deserve shit like that. That shit sucks.
Yeah.
I hate those images will be burned in all of our heads. I guarantee, I put money on it that every single man or woman that was out there saw a body that was trampled. That's how often it was too.
Yeah.
That it just, yeah.
Cool. All right. So that's pretty much the day-to-day.
That's day-to-day life in Afghanistan is being on the canal wall, looking at people's documents, or having people come to you asking if their documents, because everyone had a folder, everyone had some sort of piece of paper, everyone there had something to show you, and they all needed to show you something. So that was a lot of our day, was trying to look through these documents to see which ones were real, which ones were legitimate to send through. That was day-to-day life in Afghanistan. Leading up till the 25th, the night of the 25th, we had rotated off the wall, and that was our night to take some rest. Our platoon to take some rest. And I remember waking up the morning of the 26th and like knowing like, hey, the 26th, we're closing this gate. This is the last day that we have to do this shit.
Yeah.
We're closing this gate, and nothing bad has happened. We know that the Taliban is all around us. ISIS is all around us. Fucking every Al-Qaeda is all around us because they got fucking let out of Bagram than the prison around us. Like, we know every bad motherfucker is around us now on the day of the 26th. And we had also gotten information that there were bombs. There were multiple bombs. We had gotten information that a VBID was going to come and cross one of the bridges over the canal and and blow all of us up and try and be.
All right, so where were you again? Oh, so you guys know you guys are surrounded by Taliban and ISIS, and there's V-bids and
the day of the 26th, we knew that there was we had gotten intel that there was a V-bid coming, and we'd also gotten intel that there was a possible bomb, like just bomb threat. We didn't know exactly what it was, but at least I didn't know exactly what it was. But we had gotten intel about a bomb threat, and we had pulled off the line that day on the 26th, and we had kind of consolidated back and pushed back just because the initial threat was like a briefcase or like a computer bag that had a big ass IED in it that we were like, okay, we're keeping an eye out for people with this briefcase, and someone had got PID on it, had got positive ID on it. So we pulled off the line and we left like a skeleton crew up on the canal wall, just to kind of consolidate if this bomb did go off, like we have minimal people up there to take casualties.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird to think about it.
That's so wild.
It's in Sean Ryan's interview, Tyler's interview with Sean Ryan. He talks about it and he's like, I don't know why we consolidated that day and we were all crunched up to that wall, and it was because we already, from our perspective, we knew that there was a bomb threat. So we wanted to take, I mean, I'm not the commander, but in my head, as I think about it, we want to take as many people, we need to keep essential people on the line. As many people as we can to control this, but we also need to take bodies off. So
control the guys and control the crowd?
Yes. Okay. To control the crowd, we need to keep enough people to control the crowd, but we also can't put too many people on the line because there's a bomb threat. And if we're gonna if we have to operate, which we did, we had no choice to close the gate. We were supposed to close the gate 3 hours before we got blown up, but we still pushed because there were still people there. And when we went back out on that line, we knew that there was a threat, that there was going to be I knew that there was going to be a threat of a bomb, and we had sent a skeleton crew out just because if we're going to take casualties, we take as little amount of casualties.
How many in the skeleton crew?
Our platoon's worth, first platoon's worth of guys were up on that wall.
So you guys are the skeleton crew.
Yeah. All of 2 on Golf's first platoon was up on that wall.
So, okay.
Up in that crowd area, all condensed. When the bomb went off, when Tyler is talking about all the people condensed underneath the tower, that's all 2 on Golf.
Okay.
First platoon.
And that's the skeleton crew that you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah, to hold it, because we were trying to close the doors.
Yeah.
And we were trying to egress from the Baron Hotel slowly without them getting too chaotic.
Yeah.
And pull that line back in. And as we pull that line back in, at the end of it, before we got to close the gates, dude got to clack his bomb off. So I remember. That's pretty
wild to think that like you guys were it was pretty much a suicide mission.
Yeah.
You guys
from my perspective, as I look, it wasn't like, in the moment, it wasn't like, we're going out there, there's a big ass bomb threat, as you know it. Like, as I know it now, it wasn't like that. I didn't think of it like that. But as today, yeah, it's like, it's the last day.
Yeah.
It's fucking inevitable, like, that we're going to get blown up. Like,
and
something's gonna happen.
You guys
today.
are just fucking. You guys are tired as fuck.
Yeah, we're tired as fuck. We've been out here for 10 days grinding nonstop. This is the last day that we're closing the gate, and everyone knew it. That's why there were so many people there that day. Everyone knew that we were closing the gate. So if we knew it, and if the Americans or the Afghanistan civilians knew it, fucking Taliban knew it, and if the Taliban knew it, then ISIS knew it, or whoever the fuck blew that bomb off, whatever organization they claimed to be under. They knew it. And
then like your guys' mindset is like, this is another task. Fucking maybe it's like the thought of like a suicide bomber. Is it like not registering? Is it kind of just like, dude?
In my head, no.
It's just
me specifically, no.
Yeah.
Because get up there and do the fucking job. We've already been out here doing the same job 10 fucking days. Like, get up there and do the fucking job. That's, I don't want to speak for anyone else, but from my perspective, like, we know there's a fucking bomb there in our vicinity. I know there's a bomb in our vicinity, but like, we still got a job to do. We still have to close this fucking gate. We still got to get as many people as we can out of that canal and inside of this gate before we close it. So you just get the fuck back up on that wall and just do it. Yeah. We were there. We had gotten back up on that wall, and I remember before we got blown up, just before we got blown up, I was having this argument. Me and a couple other Marines were having this argument with the FET team, the women team, or the women's team that was trying to get this mom and her kids into the canal. That we had assessed that this mom and her kids could not come in. She didn't have the proper paperwork. No one had the proper paperwork to go in to the rest of the airport. They had no paperwork, so we had to remove them. But she didn't want to leave, so and we couldn't touch them. Like, they're females, we're males. We respected their culture. We didn't touch them. We didn't put our hands on them, so we had to call the FET team to get them out of there, because she kind of just sat down and she said, if you're not going to take me, then either you kill me or you take me. And we couldn't kill her, obviously. We're not going to do that. So we called the FET team, and we get them over, and they start having this argument with her and her kids, and they're trying to get them in, and we're just rushing. Like, me and the group of guys around us, we're just rushing, trying to get that family out, and we're just screaming at the FET team. I remember looking at Kelsey Lanehart and telling her, if you don't, like, you stupid fuck, like, get this woman in the water now, because it was so chaotic that I was already acting out against our own Marines. Like, I was acting out against another Marine because we were ready to get that woman off. She was causing too many problems in our area that it caused us to be violent.
And in that moment, it's you, Sanchez, one of your other buddies.
Yeah, Thompson.
And then Kelsey, Guy.
Yeah, Kelsey, Guy, and Rosario. So me, Sanchez, and Thompson, and Humberto Sanchez, we were all kind of ushering that mom and her kids off to get into the water, and they wouldn't do it, so we called the FET team, which the FET team that came over was Sergeant Guy, Sergeant Rosario, and Corporal Lanehart. And yeah, we kind of had an argument with them. I remember looking at Kelsey, and I told her, I was like, you stupid corporal bitch, you put that fucking bitch in the water, because it was just high intensity moment. Like, we knew we had to get the job done, and they wouldn't do it because they were trying to do it the right way. They were trying to do it politely. Hindsight, as I look back at it, we were dickheads for yelling at them, but they were trying to do it the right way, because they were just civilians. They weren't trying to hurt anybody, so they're not going to put their hands and use excessive force. So, but we knew that there was a threat around us, so we needed that space. We needed as much room as we could work. And the FET team had finally gotten the mother and her kids into the water, and they were there, and I jumped back up onto the wall, and I remember I turned to my left as I jump back up onto the wall, and I look, and I see them in the water, and I look up, and I look to the other side of the canal, and I look to my left, and then boom, bomb. At the moment, it was just flash. I thought it was a flashbang. Like, I really thought I got hit with a flashbang. And then I opened my eyes, and I was wearing sunglasses, and the right lens of my sunglasses was popped out. I was like, I don't think if I got hit with a flashbang, that thing had to be close to hit me and pop my sunglasses off. And then, like, as I open my eyes and I look down, I see everything. I see at my own legs, Nicole, Nicole laying across my legs. And that's when I knew that it wasn't a flashbang. I knew it was a bomb because I was fucked up and she was dead. As I looked down, she was dead. There was no, I could tell there was no life in her. And I knew that she was gone. So it clicked in my head. That was a bomb. That wasn't a flashbang. It was a bomb. We got fucked up bad. And at the moment, that moment, so in total, I think, I can't remember the exact time, but someone along the line has told me that it took all of our Marines 12 minutes, somewhere around 12 to 15 minute mark to get us all off of the X. All off of the X and to the roll 2. So shout out to them. They fucking saved our lives. The dudes that survived out of that shit, they saved our fucking lives. They got us off the X. They did their immediate actions and they got us off the X.
Are you talking about like QRF and shit?
Yeah. The dudes, like, when we sent the skeleton crew out, our other platoons were close by. Okay. Like, they were maybe 300 meters behind, like behind Abbey Gate. Yeah. They were close. So when the bomb went off, they probably still felt it and heard it, and they were like, fuck, that's a bomb. Immediately came through. So, yeah, those dudes saved our life. But I remember when I looked down, at that moment, felt like hours of being on the ground. Felt like hours of looking down at Nicole and seeing her. And I remember just kind of like looking up and I was like, fuck, we just got blown the fuck up. And I thought to myself, I just kind of went through a checklist. I was like, well, I'm alive. Okay, that's step 1, I'm alive. Step 2, can someone help me? Because I couldn't move. I was so like shocked, I couldn't move for the moment. So I tried to move whatever I could. And I could move my arms very littly. And I was like, okay, that's a good sign. And I remember trying to roll over to my side. I tried to roll over to my right side, actually. I didn't know where I got blown up, but I tried to roll over to my right side, and I couldn't. I couldn't move because Nicole was still on my legs, and I couldn't move my legs. So I remember a Marine, I don't know who he was, but it was a Marine coming up pretty much next to me and rendering aid to Nicole. And I remember tapping that Marine, and I was like, you gotta help me. Like, I can't move. Like, you gotta help me. And that Marine ended up taking Nicole, doing whatever that they could to try and save her life. And I remember after she had gotten off my legs and moved, I realized that that person was gone, so I could move. Like, I can move. So I tried to roll over again, and I rolled over to my left side. And by the time that I rolled over to my left side and got on my hands and knees, my squad leader was there. My squad leader was there, and he picked me up. Like, as soon as I rolled over, my squad leader had just, like, scooped me up, and, like, I stood up, and I was like, holy fuck, like, I can stand. And, my squad leader dragged me out to the fence, and that's where it started to get hazy for my memory. I don't remember any pain. I don't remember any hurt. I just remember being fucking confused. Like, damn, like, where the fuck are we? And I remember as my squad leader's pulling me out, I remember as we're walking past, as he's like buddy carrying me walking past, I see my platoon sergeant walk past us saying, get back on that wall and shoot back at those motherfuckers. So I'm like, oh, we're in a gunfight too. Like, I was so fucked up that I didn't know, like, I didn't hear, like, I know that there was gunshots and, like, obviously my injuries show, but I didn't hear any of that shit. So, but that's how I know that there was gunfire, was because I remember very vividly looking at him as he passes me saying, get back on that line, or get back on that wall and shoot back at those motherfuckers. So in my head, like, oh, we're getting shot at. So I'm trying to help my squad leader drag me out to this wall. Like, I'm doing as much as I can with my own legs. And to me, I thought I was saying to him, I don't want to die, as he's like carrying me. I thought I was saying that, but hearing from other terms, people that had to help carry me out that extra 100 meters, they told me that it wasn't I don't want to die, and it's kill me, like I want to die. I thought it was, in my head, I always thought it was I don't want to die, but I was just screaming fucking I want to die, I want to die. But I do remember looking at my squad leader and I remember seeing just a drip of blood coming down his forehead, and I was like, damn, he's fucked up too. Like, we're all fucked up, and he's saving my life. And I remember as I'm saying to him, what I think I'm saying to him is, I don't want to die. I remember him saying to me, you're not going to fucking die, Finley. Let's go. Like, keep walking. So I just kept walking. And sometime in that walk from outside of the gate to being dropped off at the CCP right on the backside of Abbey Gate Actual, I lost it. I was done.
Lost as like, you know,
like I was in shock at that point. I had to have been in shock because
like code black or whatever they call it.
Yeah, I was code black. Because now as I talk about it, one of my good friends now, Sam Yoakum, he tells me a story about, he remembers going to my right leg, and pushing gauze into my leg, finger over finger, as you're supposed to do in TCCC, pushing gauze into my leg to stop the bleeding in my leg. I don't remember any of that shit. You'd think you would remember someone sticking fingers in your leg, but I don't remember any of that shit. So I was out. At some point I had come back to when I'd gotten onto the litter. I remember being on the litter and being lifted up into the back of the truck to go to roll 2 to inside of the airport to get more help medically. And I remember being in the back of that truck, and it was me in a litter, another person in a litter, I don't know who the fuck it was, another person in a litter, and then over top of us, it was one person across on top. So we're in the bed of the truck, the tailgate's bent down, like put down. We're hanging out the back of the truck, laying flat, and there's a body over our chest and then a body over our legs. There was just so many people that got fucked up that we were just carrying people, like as much as we could, like as many people as we could fit into a vehicle. Like we were Lincoln logging motherfuckers. Like we were in, like packed in like sardines. That's where I came to a little bit, and I kind of regained consciousness. And then I remember talking to the PJ, or the first person that takes me off, as I get off the litter and I get put onto a table. I remember it's a PJ, he's talking to me, and he's like he's like doing the right things to keep me out of shock, to keep me alive. He's like asking me questions. He's like, hey man, like what's your name? And I told him my name. He's like, do you know what date it is? I was like, no, we've been in Afghanistan for too long. I don't know what time or date it is. And he's like, okay, you seem pretty all right. And then he's like laughing at me, and he's like, you know, he's like, you got shot in the ass, man. Like, we're gonna have to do something about that. And I remember making a joke to him, and I was like, what is this, Forrest Gump? Like, am I Forrest Gump? Like, did I get shot in the ass? Am I lucky enough to get shot in the ass and live? And then he told me that I had a sucking chest wound, and he was gonna have to give me a chest tube. And I looked at him, and I remember saying to him, I was like, well, you're gonna have to give me something for that, because I'm not gonna let you cut me open while I'm awake. And he said, don't worry, buddy, we got you something. And that was the last thing I remember, until waking up later in the hospital, after they had cut me open, put a chest tube in, and waking up from the ketamine that they had given me. Yeah.
So like when the bomb blew up and you know you were on the ground, did you look around as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked down into coal. The first thing I looked down into coal on my legs. And then as I was on top of the wall, and when I got blown up, I essentially just fell straight back, and my feet were at the wall. So as I opened my eyes, my head was straight up, and I looked down towards my feet. And as I'm looking down, I can just see people laid out over the wall, dead, limbs.
Like in the
on top of the wall that I was standing on. People just dead, limbs everywhere on the ground. A lot of blood, a lot of just. The shitty part about it was I saw a lot of tan, a lot of desert marpat on the fucking ground. So a lot of people of our Marines fucking hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fucking sucked. I remember seeing that. I don't remember faces or specifics, but I do remember seeing civilians, and I remember seeing marpat Marines.
Yeah.
People in coyote and marpat.
Yeah.
On the ground. And I remember, for the longest time, I didn't know the person on my legs was Nicole until Kelsey had came out with her story. And she had talked about how she had seen Kelsey she had seen Nicole laying on another Marine's legs. And in my head, all as I remembered it is I looked down at this blonde-haired white girl in marpat on my legs, and that's how I always described her. But now I know that was Nicole.
Okay. All right. So, do you remember hearing like the cracks or like the snaps of like the gunfire?
No, I was too fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, as I'm getting dragged out by my squad leader, I was so fucked up that I took my own rifle off of myself. So when you learn CLS classes in TCCC, Combat Lifesaver and Tactical Combat Casualty Care courses in the Marine Corps, they tell you as you're coming up to a casualty, take their weapon off of them, because if they go into shock, they could like use their weapon and think you're an attacker and stuff like that. I was so fucked up that I took my own weapon off of myself. I was like remembering training that it was like, oh, this is a casualty, take the weapon off. I remember being dragged and my rifle, like my left arm was down and my right arm was over my squad leader, or my left arm was up and my right arm was down. And I remember just grabbing my arm like this, like reaching up like this and unclipping my own rifle. Like that's how fucked up I was. I just left my own rifle out on the battlefield. Like just left it there because that's how fucked up I was. So I didn't hear any gunshots, any cracks, but yeah, all the stories that I believe, every single one of the stories that people say that they got shot at. And I saw my own platoon sergeant say, get back on that wall and shoot back at those the back part. Like that means they're shooting at, like someone's shooting at us, so we got to shoot back at them. So I didn't hear the cracks, but I knew that there was gunfire happening.
Was there a lot of like ringing in your ears?
Yeah, my right ear got perforated. So that whole right ear, I remember until I got back to Walter Reed and out of my second surgery is when my ear finally stopped ringing.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. My ear rang for a while. Like the tinnitus on top of being the perforated eardrum, the pressure from the bomb had just blown, like partially ripped my eardrum. So, the ringing in my ear was.
So, do you remember seeing like a flash?
No.
No.
I just remember because when it happened, I remember getting up on the wall, and as I'm standing on the wall, I turned my whole body left. Like if this is the bomb or this is the other side of the canal, I turn my body left like this. And as I turn my body left, I look this way, and we got blown up from this side. So I didn't see any flash or anything.
Okay.
I just got hit with the ball bearings and the pressure.
And who else was on the wall? Were you the only one on the wall, or?
Right next to me was one of our guys, Noah Smith, and there was more people in that specific spot. We had gotten off the wall to help the Sanchez and Thompson get the women out, so we had jumped off of the wall. But down the rest of the line of the wall, the space that we did have guys up on the wall. I think Nikui was on the wall. I think Marola was on the wall, closer towards the bomb, towards my right. I don't know exactly where they would have been, but given the report, I think they would have been on the wall.
Yeah.
To my right, we had guys further left of Smith up on the wall. Yeah, there was a lot of guys on the wall. We had guys on the ground part, and we had guys just come up on the wall because when we took that position on top of the wall just because it was easier to help us pull people out of the canal or see over top of the other side of the canal for people that we're trying to look for. Just gave us better vantage point up on top of that wall.
Yeah. Were you pretty close to Sanchez, or were you standing pretty close to him?
At the time, no, not really. I knew of him, and honestly, me and Sanchez went to ITB together, and we had been through our entire Marine Corps. I'd known of him. We never got close, like friends like that. I never didn't like him or anything, but we were never close like that until after.
Close as in like, were you standing like?
Oh, like in that on that day?
Yeah.
No. At the time that I remember, I had to have been close to him because we had just gotten in that argument before.
Yeah.
But I remember jumping up on that wall and people going off to my right. At some point, like off the wall and to my right. I didn't see them because as I jumped up and turned to my left, I remember just that peripheral, those dudes were going off to my right. So I would assume that's like Sanchez and Humberto and Thompson going over to that right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were definitely within 15 feet of each other when the bomb went off, but not right on top of each other.
All right. So you guys are at the. You were telling me that I guess after you came to Sanchez, he let everybody borrow his phone so you guys could call home.
Yeah.
Who'd you call?
I called my mom. So after we got sent to Roll 2 and we kind of came out of our drug-induced comas, and after we got our first operations to clean shit up, Sanchez was walking around with his phone, and he was like, hey, call your mom. Like, he was telling us to call our moms or call our parents, like call someone. He has his phone, and I remember I took his phone and I called my mom. I was like, thank you. And I called my mom and I told her, I was like, we just got blown the fuck up. We got blown the fuck up and I'm hurt. And I told her, I remember I was high as shit. I was high as fuck on ketamine still. And I told her, we got blown up and I'm hurt, but I'm okay. And I remember hearing her cry. I remember just hearing her break down over the phone. Yeah. She was the only person that at the time, that was the only phone number that I could remember to call. Yeah. Because I was still fucked up from the drugs and being blown up. So it was like, first person I had to call, that was the only person that I could call. And then I passed the phone back to Sanchez, and he walked around to go let other people call.
Nice. And then, did you get, I'm assuming you got like some more surgery when you got to like Germany?
Yeah, yeah.
How many surgeries did you get in total?
One in Afghanistan, one in Germany, and then 6 at Walter Reed. So 8 total. So the first surgery would have been to kind of like clean all of my wounds and shit. The second surgery would have been my fasciotomy on my right calf. To open up, to stop the compartment syndrome on my leg. That was the surgery in Germany. And then after that, when I got to Walter Reed, when we flew to Walter Reed, from Germany to Walter Reed, we were stable. We were like, at least I was. Tyler wasn't, Wilson wasn't. They both died. Both died on that flight. But
from Germany to Walter Reed?
Yeah.
No way.
I know Wilson died. I know he flatlined on that flight.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure Vargas also flatlined on his flight too. I don't know. I know he flatlined a lot of times. But I'm pretty sure he flatlined on his flight, and they had to give him life-saving measures. But Yeah, once we got to Walter Reed, me personally, I was kind of stable enough to start doing repairing surgeries.
Yeah.
The first surgery and the only surgery I had in Germany was to cut my calf open. The fasciotomy is just a big long cut down this line here on both sides. That was to open it, and then when I finally got back to Walter Reed, we were cleaning that wound, closing it, trying to close it back up. I also had surgeries on my wrist. I had a surgery on my shoulder, and then I also had shoulders on my hip. I had titanium rods put in my hip, 2 of them.
Oh. And then you still have a ball bearing lodged into your neck, right? Mm-hmm. Is that the only ball bearing that you still have? Or?
No, the ones that I know of, I have one somewhere in my abdomen region. So the ones that I know of, I have one next to my C1 in my neck, right next to my C1. And then I have somewhere in the middle region of my abdomen, closer towards my spine on the back side. I don't know exactly where it is, but it's in my abdomen. And then I have at least 3 in my pelvic region.
No way.
Yeah.
You don't feel any?
No. Even when I move my neck around like this, I don't feel anything. Yeah, it's not really noticeable. I see it when I get x-rays though.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask me, like, I just went to the dentist recently, and the lady was taking x-rays in my mouth, and when you get those x-rays, it's like a whole head thing. Like, and she's like, there's something, do you have something in your mouth? And I was like, no, that's a ball bearing in my neck. And she kind of looked at me crazy. Like, she looked at me like I was crazy. She's like, what? I was like, yeah, there's a ball bearing in my neck still, right next to my C1 spine. And I showed her the scar behind my ear, and she was like, wow, that is insane. So, yeah.
You tell her how it got there?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Anyone that asks, anyone that asks what happened, because I walk around nowadays, if I walk around with shorts, like, a lot of people will see this big ass scar.
Oh, word.
Yeah, a lot of people will see these big ass scars from here all the way down to here on both sides. People ask. I'll tell them. Yeah. It doesn't bother me.
And then you got shot through.
Yeah.
Like,
so, yeah, the investigation came out and they tried to tell us we didn't get shot, but I want someone to explain to me how there's a scar here on the right side of my right calf, a scar here, and then a scar here, and a scar here. Now, to me, the way that science works, a ball bearing wouldn't go through 2 full human-grown legs. My legs are skinny now, but they were bigger at the time. So there's no ball bearing, no matter what force, that they were tiny. They were millimeter-sized ball bearings. There's no ball bearing that could go through both of my legs like that with clothes on, like pants. Like, there's no way a ball bearing could do that.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a gunshot.
Yeah.
I can't confirm it. Like, as soon as that bomb happened, like, I know exactly how it all rolled out, but the semantics of pain, I didn't feel shit for pain. I didn't know that I broke my hip. I was walking on a broken hip from the time that I got blown up and I was getting dragged off. I was walking on a broken hip, so no, there was no pain that I was registering at the time. I was just in shock. So getting shot through my legs could have happened. I don't know exactly specifically, but getting shot could have happened. And when I remember talking to the PJs, and he told me I got shot in the ass. So that's another indication of us getting shot. Sanchez has counts of him getting shot in the shoulder and bringing up his own rifle and killing him. So yeah, we got fucking shot at.
Trailer got shot. Wilson got shot.
Our buddy Garcia got shot in the gut. I got shot in the legs. We got shot. Vargas heard snaps. Every other person that I talked to about this story, when I asked them their representation of it, they all talk about getting shot. And these are people that I served with. everyone in 2-1 Golf at that point, I had at least served 9 months to a year with, or more. 9 months to probably, I mean, Rocha was in my company, and I'd served my whole Marine Corps career with them. So all those dudes there were trustworthy dudes that I can understand, and every single one of those people talked about getting shot.
Yeah.
So I'd like to, like, where did the determination of we didn't get shot at in this investigation come from?
Yeah.
Like, who said we didn't get shot? Like, I know we got shot. We all know, like, everyone knows that we got shot. It's been a normal standard for when Americans get blown up, when Americans have an IED in Afghanistan, every single time when they fight the Taliban, when Americans have an IED, immediately after, there's gunfire. There's small arms fire, there's rifles, machine guns, RPGs attacking them after. It's a complex ambush. They're waiting for you to walk down that road and blow that bomb up so they can stop and shoot you and cause more casualties after the bomb blows up. For 20 years, it's been like that.
Yeah.
It was like that fucking day. We got blown up, and they fucking knew that they were going to blow us up, so they started shooting back at us. It's guaranteed. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Freaking even you guys had suppressors too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's his name?
Sergeant Carlos Garcia.
Yeah, Sergeant Garcia.
Yeah,
Carlos.
He said
he talks about it. He talks about it in your interview with him. He's like, yeah, we all had suppressors. So when you hear snap, 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 like, you know this when you know the sound of a gunshot, you know the sound of a gunshot. Mm-hmm. When you know the sound of a suppressed gunshot, you know the sound of a suppressed gunshot. You know the difference. There's a complete difference. Mm-hmm. Like, if you shot an unsuppressed gun in this room, your ears would be fucked. Mm-hmm. If you shot a suppressed gun in this room, your ears would be ringing, but it wouldn't be bad. So you know there's a difference. And he even talks about hearing, like, oh shit, that's not a suppressed gun. That's live fire. So all of our own forces, we all have suppressors. So we're getting shot at.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then we would have a couple buddies who are on like QRF. Mm-hmm. When they ran over there, they saw dudes on fucking rooftops.
Yeah,
fucking,
and
with guns and all that shit.
For the whole 10 days prior, or 9 days prior that I was there in Afghanistan, you see Taliban members, civilians across that canal. There's a fence behind that canal. There's a walkway and then a fence, and then beyond that fence is a neighborhood. And you can see the tops of those buildings, and you can see the windows on those buildings, and it's people in them just moving it all the time on the tops of those buildings, watching us, doing whatever the fuck. So you know that those are positions that people can get shot from, like that you want to shoot people from. Yeah. So yeah, like every single. I personally cannot say that I saw anyone shoot or I heard anyone shoot, but every single detail from every single story, even my own, leads to the fact that we got shot at. So the night before, I remember we were back at our bivouac site at the gym in the domes that we had set up, and I was texting my mom, I was texting my dad, I was texting a couple of my friends, and I was texting my now current girlfriend. My best friend actually had told me over text message, he was like, hey man, like, back home, we're getting reports of a suicide bomber. And we knew. She's coming back for it. What'd she forget? But yeah, I remember I was getting text messages from my best friend. He had said, be careful. They were getting reports back home of suicide bombers potentially in the area. We had known. I remember texting my best friend. I said, we're supposed to put down another 16 hours. The night before the night of the 25th in Afghanistan, it was the daytime for them, and I told him, I was like, yeah, we're pushing out for a 16-hour shift tomorrow. We had set up in place extra people for Overwatch out of each squad whenever we were on rotation. For each squad had a designated 2 people per squad to go up in the sniper tower to have extra set of eyes, or at least get a higher point of vantage the night before. And I texted my buddy, my best friend, and I told him, yeah, we're going out for another 16-hour shift. I'll keep my eyes out for a bomb for suicide bombers. Little did I know that next day I would get blown up by a suicide bomber.
Yeah.
Yeah. I told my mom. I didn't tell directly my mom. I didn't really tell anyone directly that we knew that we were going to get, that there was a threat in the area. But the people that my best friend Marine, he knew, just because the world knew at the time. It was news. Bagram Air Force, or Bagram, had been taken over and prisoners had been released. Previous suicide bombers that we had put in jail were getting released because we had allowed them to take this massive prison over. So we knew that there were suicide bombers going to be in the area at the time. And yeah, I had a text message that just said, "Be careful."
And you were like, nah, fuck that.
I mean, at the time I was just like, shit, it's possible, but like, we had a job to do. Like,
Yeah.
Overall, whatever it is, regardless of what, that's what Marines do.
Yeah.
You run towards the sound of chaos, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what all the commercials say. Marines run towards the sound of chaos to be support, to be helpful.
Yeah.
So we kind of just knew. We knew that bad shit was going to happen. We knew the gate was going to close. At least I did. Just had that ominous feeling in the back of your head. Like, today's the last day. Something bad could happen.
Yeah.
I didn't know exactly what, obviously, but yeah.
Right on. All right. Let's get forward to you guys flew from Germany to Walter Reed. Let's talk about Walter Reed and Biden being at the.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we get back from Germany, or we leave Germany after we get Afghanistan. We get blown up. We spend maybe half a day's worth of time in Afghanistan, and then they fly us out to Germany to get up like better echelon of care. And we have Landstuhl in Germany. That's a military base for people that get hurt in other places. So we went to Landstuhl. That was the second time I got to call my mom from there. And then I had surgeries there to help clean things up, stabilize me even more than what I was, and get me ready for a flight back to Walter Reed. And we flew into Walter Reed. I remember that night we landed, and I was on a bed, like I was laying down flat on a cot the entire time, hooked up, staying stable. And I remember just like being on a bus and getting bussed off to Walter Reed. And when I was on the cart getting walked into Walter Reed, I remember hearing my mom. I didn't see her, but I remember hearing my mom saying, I'm here. I had we're here. Like, you're okay. And yeah, I got rushed pretty much immediately to ICU, into surgery, because I think my right lung was failing at that time, and they needed to put me back into surgery to stabilize my right lung. When I took the ball bearing, I had a sucking chest wound, and my lung was collapsing and failing. And they wanted to save it, so they put me immediately into surgery. And I woke up that morning with my mom there at the hospital. And yeah, we started the battles of surgeries and going through the initial process, meeting new people. There was like a team of Navy. There was like a Navy girl that would come in with her clipboard every single time, and anytime someone important that would come in. So I got to meet the Secretary of Defense. I got to meet the Commandant, Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. They both came. Well, those two came in. They pinned my Purple Heart on me when I was in the hospital. And then I got to meet them again later on. They came and checked up on all of us. I got to meet a lot of very important people. And there was this lady that came in every single time, and she was like, she would tell us like, hey, this person is coming today. Do you want to meet them? And one day that I was in Walter Reed, she come in and she was like, today we've got someone important coming in, and we can't really tell you who it is, but someone important is coming in. Are you willing to meet them? And I was like, that means nothing to me. I don't, like, how am I supposed to say, yes, I'm willing to meet this person if I don't know who it is? But at the time I was doped out on drugs at all times because I was fucked up. And I was like, yeah, I'll meet whoever it is. And my dad was at the hospital with me at the time, and he went down to go smoke a cigarette, and he had come back up to the room, and he was like, man, I don't know what they're doing, but they're buffing the floors and painting the walls. And in my head, I was like, the president's coming today. The president is coming today, because when you think of, in the Marine Corps, when you think of someone important coming, you like field day. You field day the outside. You're picking the weeds in the grass outside. Like, someone important is coming. You need to clean the barracks, and everything needs to be perfect for when this really important person comes. And we had already seen some of the top people, Secretary of Defense, pretty big people, Joint Chiefs of Staff, had come to visit us. Commandant, Sergeant Major, like big people had come to visit us, and they had told us who those people were, but they didn't tell us that day who was coming, and all of the things were happening. There were people lined up with shoots outside of the hallways as my dad was walking through, and kind of just pointed to the context clues of Joe Biden was coming. And honestly, at first, I didn't really want to meet him. I didn't really want to meet him just because in my head, he was responsible for killing my friends. And to this day, I still think he is a part of the reason why my friends died that day. But I had a real serious conversation with my dad. My dad was like, my dad's always been a very good source of devil's advocate and reason for me, for everything that I come to him with. And he saw me struggling with that, and he kind of sat me down, just me and him personally one-on-one. And he said, I get it. I get how you feel not wanting to meet the President of the United States right now. I get it. But he said, that motherfucker owes you an apology. Joe Biden owes you an apology. My dad was telling me, Joe Biden owes you an apology. And this is going to be the time. This is probably going to be the only time that you can get some sort of apology out of that man. So take the opportunity. And I sat on it, and I melded for it for probably a good hour or two, because we had plenty of time. After I knew that he was coming, I had plenty of time. I sat on it, and I said, yeah, I'll meet the president. And I waited. Motherfucker was late, old bastard. He was late. And I remember when he came in, it was kind of like it was kind of like a oh fuck moment. Like, that's the President of the United States. That's my boss. That's my boss's 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 boss. Like, that's, yeah. I'm in the military. That's head honcho. That's who I'm supposed to listen to. But in my head, I was also thinking, that's the dude that just killed my friends. So in my head, I was just like, I was respectful, obviously. Just be respectful. I stood up and I shook his hand. And as I shook his hand, he immediately thanked me for my service. And he apologized without me even asking.
No way.
He apologized. He apologized for me getting hurt. He said, I apologize for everything that happened to you. He didn't there was no specific saying I apologize for sending you to Afghanistan, but in my head that was a lot to me. He apologized. So it helped. In the moment it helped. It fucking sucked. I got pictures of me and Joe Biden and my family, and you can just see it kind of in my eyes. We have masks on, but you could see it in my eyes. You can see it in my mom's eyes. Just didn't want to be there. I'm upset, but it helped. It helped knowing that the guy that was responsible for this, making these calls and overall just being the person that caused all this shit to happen, did apologize. To me, I won't ever bash anyone else's opinion about Joe Biden or anything politically. That's your own opinion. You keep your own opinion to yourself. But for me personally, that gave me enough peace of mind to live with that for him.
How like mental health, and from everything that you experienced in Afghanistan and your injuries and everything you saw and witnessed, like how's would you say you have like PTSD or like nightmares or like anxiety and depression, and how's all that?
I won't call it full PTSD. I'll call it PTS. Post-traumatic stressors, or whatever the acronym is for. In my head, in most people's head, PTSD is like, if you walk up behind a combat wounded dude, he's going to turn around and hit you because that's his PTSD. He doesn't like people around him. So I don't have that. But shit like crowds still bug me out. It's enough for me to be conscious about it. I got a lot of help. As soon as we got blown up, I was telling the story as much as I could, because I knew that if I didn't, and if I internalized it as I would with all of my previous problems, it would just come out later.
Yeah.
So I was telling the story as soon as I could, I was able to. I told my mom the story because she was the first person there. And she asked me, she was like, what happened? I told her every detail from start to finish. And every single person to this day that has asked me anything about what happened that day, I'll tell them, just because it helps. Just talking about it helps.
Do you have a sense of relief when you talk about it?
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, me personally, I know what we did out there accomplished a lot of fucking, we saved a lot of fucking lives. We saved a lot of fucking people.
Yeah.
And it sucks. Almost every day I think about those 13 people that died. But the thing that helps me get through it when I'm having those bad moments and thinking about those guys and girls is we saved a lot of fucking lives. We did our job. Yeah. As much as it was a fucking chaos, and as much as it was a shit show, we saved 124,000+ people. 124,000 people alone is a lot of fucking people. Plus, I don't know the exact number, but when we got told it was 124,000 plus, and now the media says it's 127,000+ people, but we saved a lot of fucking people.
Yeah.
At Abbey Gate alone, Joe Biden told us it was minimum 50,000.
No way.
Out of just Abbey Gate. So like,
wow, that's crazy, dude. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy because when I think about it now, that's what helps me get through it. That's what helps me get through my shitty moments. Is I saved a lot of fucking lives. Me and the people that I fucking stood next to saved a lot of fucking lives that day.
Yeah,
like a lot. That's what helps me get through it. We did our job. As much as our leadership failed us and our hire failed us, we did what the fuck we had to do.
50,000. That's wow.
Whatever the statistic is,
yeah,
it was like 49. He gave us specific numbers,
yeah,
because the State Department had numbers on all that shit, but 50,000 people was what he told us. So told me out of specifically Abbey Gate, 124 at the time, and while we were in the hospital, he told me it was 124 plus thousand people that we had pulled. And then as reports came out later, it was 127 plus thousand people that had gotten saved over that entire evacuation.
Yeah.
That's why I say I'll go back.
Yeah.
Every day. Regardless of the injuries, I'd go back in a fucking heartbeat.
Yeah.
I'd go back in a heartbeat to be with my friends again.
Yeah.
I'd go back in a heartbeat to feel that like bond with the dudes again.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though it sucked, it's the same thing as boot camp. Even though it fucking sucked and it just wasn't anything that you really wanted to be in, there's pride to be had. At boot camp, you graduated and you became a Marine.
Yeah.
After that fucking deployment, we saved a lot of fucking lives. Those people, my friends that died that day, are fucking heroes because they're a part of that crew. They're a part of that group of people that saved 120 plus thousand people.
Yeah.
That the whole time, the whole 10 days that we were there, they didn't. For me, they didn't die in vain. They died in vain in respect that no one has had accountability. But I know what the fuck they did. I know what they did, and a lot of Marines out there know what they did.
Yeah.
So they're top. They're the same way that you say like I'm like a superstar to you, like being an honor. They're superstars to me.
Yeah.
And I grew up with those dudes. Like in the Marine Corps,
That's wild to think about. Like they essentially sacrificed their life to help save, just from that gate, 50,000 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
To
be a specific number, yeah. Those 13 lives, out of those 13, they saved 50 plus thousand.
Yeah. Like that's their legacy.
Yeah.
Wow.
They deserve it. They deserve it. They deserve everything more and more.
Yeah.
They deserve to be told to the heavens for the rest of our days. Those Marines are fucking warriors. They gave the ultimate sacrifice. Something that a lot of fucking Marines today, something that a lot of Marines do, is they want to give everything they have.
Yeah.
And they did it. And they'll get respect out of all of us. They need respect from everyone else for the rest of forever. That day needs to be written in history books for their sake.
Yeah.
Because of what they did that day. Even given all the bullshit that we got dealt, the shitty ass poker hand that we got fucking dealt. We didn't know what the fuck was happening as soon as we landed on the deck, all the way up until the day that we got blown up. It was just chaos. We just had to move through it. And even through all of that chaos, all those people got fucking saved. All those people made it out.
Yeah.
Those people deserve to be written in history books.
Imagine all the like the small kids that you guys saved, that like when they get older, they're gonna, you know, be a fucking Marine.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. That's the crazy thing is my mom just recently got in contact with an Afghan refugee.
Yeah.
That fuck, this one gets me. She just recently got in contact with a guy named Safi. He lives in the Midwest, Iowa, I think now, and he lives a good life now. He's an American citizen, and he's an upstanding citizen, and he just got reunited with his family, his wife and his 2 kids. And I just saw social media about that, and that's like full circle moment for me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who Safi, like I've seen pictures of him and stuff like that. I don't know specifically who Safi is.
Yeah.
From my Afghanistan experience, but that is like the work that those fucking Marines did that died that day.
Yeah.
Safi and his family is living fucking proof of we were there for a fucking reason to get those people out.
Yeah.
And get them to freedom.
Yeah.
And we did it. So, yeah, that's a tough one for me. Fuck.
I think they would go end the interview with that right there. I think that's fucking perfect, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Semper Fi.
Yeah, Semper Fi.